everyone, welcome back to Poppin In with Alexa and Molly. I'm Alexa.
I'm Molly.
And I don't know if you can tell, but I am like so jittery. I have had a coffee. We had an espresso martini right before this. I've slept like 13 hours and I am ready to chat.
Pumped.
I literally, the other day, I was like, I had to read through a bunch of stuff at work for like out loud to someone. And then I went into a client call and I sounded like an auctioneer because I was still in that mode. And I was just like, yeah, and so this is written this way, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, God damn, I need to just really...
Yeah, I do feel like we're very jittery. Like, we just spoke to each other for like an hour, probably.
I'm like literally shaking.
We're still... Oh my gosh, well, that's not good.
But like in the best way, you know? Okay. Like a little chihuahua. You know? I'm just like excited to chat. Last week, Molly said like, our discussion last week was like stuff that you were really excited about, you knew a lot about. And this week, I'm like, I got some stuff to say. I gotta take the sweatshirt off. It literally says... I'm talking so much.
Yeah. Slow down, buddy. We're not even... I gotta take the sweatshirt off. Like, are you sure it was,
Oh, God. I've had way too much caffeine in the past, like, 45 minutes.
Yeah, caffeine.
It reminds me of, for a long time I couldn't drink coffee because in college I drank 5 cups of coffee in an hour, and then I went to my mandatory yoga class, and during Downward Facing Dog, I threw up in front of the entire class.
Well, first of all, like, anytime we're, like, trying to get a hold of Alexa at, like, 5 p.m. or something, or I'm coming over or whatever. I don't know. It's usually like at a surprising time, Alexa, because it'll be like where I'm like, are you going to be able to sleep tonight? Because you always go, she always goes, sorry, I just had an entire pot of coffee. And I'm like, it's 5 p.m.
I don't sleep, and it's going to be really bad for me as I age. But you know what? At least I'm able to chat and I'm able to live.
Also, just like a little personal note, by the time everyone hears this, I'll be a dog owner.
She's becoming a mom.
So I also might not be sleeping.
She's giving birth to a golden doodle.
Yes.
That's a weird phrase. Can we say the name, or is it a secret still? By the time this comes out.
Yeah, you can say the name.
You should say it. It's your...
Matilda.
Yay!
And by the way, not like after the movie, because I've been getting a lot of those questions.
Oh, why not? That's a great movie.
I love the movie, but that's not why I named her that. Like,
okay.
I just love the name. But I do love the movie a lot, so I'm fine with people thinking that, but just know that she's not named after the character.
Yeah.
Or the book.
So she might be here when we record sometimes, depending on her temperament.
Have a new little friend.
Puppydom.
Puppydom.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Poe is literally like, just her eyes are just searing into my head. She wants to play ball, but
too bad. We're recording a podcast.
Yeah.
So.
But anyways, so the reason we're here this week, there's so many things to talk about. I have just been viewing. I have been doing nothing in my spare time but just watching.
Nice.
Film and TV, not like people. And we saw Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Sequel to the film Beetlejuice.
Oh, we've said it 3 times now. He's coming!
Well, I had something to say. I was going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it, actually. Never mind. It was going to be a full spoiler. Okay, I'll just say that in the new movie, there's a part where, like, somebody says his name, and before they even finish the third one, he's like, it actually was really hot. I was like, ooh. Sorry, I'm like, I've said this probably before. I'm actually very attracted to Michael Keaton.
I was about to say I'm very attracted to Beetlejuice.
And Beetlejuice.
I am. He literally has mold growing on his face.
I know, but there's just something, he has such riz. Like, I don't know.
I was
just going to say, he just, like, popped up before the last Beetlejuice was even said, and he was like, I don't know, it was just...
I was actually thinking about this earlier today. I'm attracted to Beetlejuice in the same way I'm kind of attracted to, not Michael Myers. Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Where I remember, like, the first time I had seen it, I was not allowed to watch this movie, but it was, like, on TBS or something.
Oh, see, my parents, like, raised me on Austin Powers, yeah.
It was, like, this is so weird, and this is, like, a weird look in my psyche, but it was, like, 11 years old or something. It was on ABC, or TBS or whatever, one of those stations. And I just remember, like, I think it's the confidence they have, like, the riz. And it's the same way that I am, like, attracted to Pitbull. Okay? Because people always judge me for this. Yes, Pitbull, on the surface, not, like, that hot of a guy. You know, he does have a moon for a head. But he just has so much, like, he comes on stage, Mr. Worldwide, Dale, and I'm like, the confidence is there.
Yeah.
And if you have confidence, you can be the hottest person in the room.
Well, it's funny that you say Austin Powers, because my first, like, literally my first crush from probably when I was, like, 5 was Scott Evil.
That's fascinating. And also, I think is accurate for you.
Thank you.
Like, just knowing, like, some of your crushes
Yeah.
today. It's just like, I think you like a little wild and weird.
And I realized looking back, because people have, there's like edits of him now on TikTok, and I'm like, thank you, I feel justified.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he was like very goth kind of, so I'm like surprised that it's not usually my type, but
I think it's like, okay, we're gonna get into Beetlejuice, but I think
yes.
it's like like how your like comfort movies are horror things. Remember, I was like, it's because you don't have like a lot of horror in your life, you know? Like it's like, and I think you're like you're attracted to like wild, weird guys because Matthew is very like classically handsome and like nice and like not scary in any way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like it's like the way people are like attracted to like Edward in Twilight, where it's like, yeah, if this were a real person.
Oh, we're going to get into Edward later.
Yeah.
So let's not even get into that right now. We have things to say.
But anyway, so Beetlejuice is hot. Beetlejuice is brat.
And Beetlejuice, by the way, let me just say, do you know how old Michael Keaton is? I want you to guess. Because what you guess is not going to be how old he is.
75.
Okay. He's 70. But I'm like shocked. I had no idea he was that old.
That makes sense because he had to be like in his 40s probably when the first one came out.
Timeline wise, it makes sense. But I just mean like how he okay, first of all, he is still like, he is a very attractive man.
Yeah, he is. And so there's this really good podcast, again, I mention it all the time, it's called What Went Wrong, and they did a whole thing on the first episode of Beetlejuice, and I think it's interesting because Michael Keaton basically came up with like a lot of like the costume design for Beetlejuice. Like he was like, well, what if he looked like he had just stuck his finger in an electric socket? He's like, what if we put mold all over him, like made him really disgusting? And the design costume people were like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, he said he was like, he only is in the first film, I think it's for like 17 minutes. The second one,
which is crazy to me.
It's crazy, but I think like less is more sometimes with like it's 17 minutes because he is so powerful. I mean, literally the name of the movie is Beetlejuice, but
yeah.
So I just think it's really interesting to describe the first film as like a 2-week-long fever dream because he only filmed it for 2 weeks and then he was done.
I think we may have talked about this last week.
Did we?
I think we did.
I think we talked about it in person.
Oh, I can't keep track.
I know. We have to like stop talking to each other outside of when we record because then we just like, I know.
Be like, I won't speak to you unless there's a microphone in front of us.
We were literally talking about something earlier and I was like, wait, we can't talk about this now.
Yeah. But
we're authentic for you all.
We are.
Also, if you hear banging, Chris is outside working on the deck. I do think he will be done soon.
But we can't promise that, and we apologize for the inconvenience.
Yeah, if you hear that. But anyways, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say it is interesting that you pointed out to me that he's only in it for like 18 minutes or whatever, because I never noticed that. But what I've always noticed is like he really, I always forget he doesn't come in for like maybe like an hour into the first movie. And then we actually rewatched it last weekend together. Yeah. And in preparation for watching the second movie. And I was like, oh yeah, he really is only in this for like 17 minutes.
Yeah, I just, the first one, okay, so you all have probably seen Beetlejuice, the first one. So we're not going to get into too much of that. What did you think of the second one?
I really liked the second one. I thought it was good for a sequel. Like for a movie that, again, Beetlejuice kind of seems like I sometimes think sequels are cheap and whatever. Like, I think they're just, to make money. But I did think that this one was deserving, especially they waited so long to make it. So I'm like, that was fair. That was long enough. And I did really like it. I thought it was funny. I don't think it was as good as the first one. No. But I did think it was, we can get into this too, but I thought it was cool where they put the characters in this one.
Yeah, I thought it was
30 years later or whatever it was.
I thought, like you said, it's a good sequel. Yeah. But I always ask people the same thing with like the most recent season of The Bear, where I was like, if this had been the first season, would you love it as much? If this had been the first Beetlejuice, would you have loved it as much? I don't think it would have been as popular.
No, but I don't really look at things like that. I mean, we should look at movies like that, but I will say, like, that clearly is not why this movie was made. It was made for fans of Beetlejuice who want to see where, who just want to see the return of these characters. So, like, I'm not mad at that. Like, I see what you're saying, and I do agree. That's, like, a good way to measure how a sequel is made. Yeah. But I can't really think of anything I would say that about. Can you?
Shrek.
Shrek 2.
Shrek 2.
I was actually maybe going to even say Austin Powers. The Spy Who Shagged Me to me is like the best one.
Interesting.
And that's a sequel. Pirates of the Caribbean 2. Okay, now I'm thinking of like
Monsters University.
No, never saw it.
Oh my god, it's so good. I loved it.
I see what you're saying.
You know, like sometimes
Toy Story 3. Probably the most perfect.
Sometimes sequels do have like the power to be better than the original, but not always.
But I did think, I mean, again, like I wasn't looking for that with this.
Yeah.
And I
Bridget Jones's Diary, Edge of Reason, loved it.
Okay.
The way you just shook your head, you're like, absolutely no, don't bring that into it.
Yeah, don't want that name mentioned.
There were some things that I noticed during the movie that when I was reading reviews, I thought was interesting too. My whole thing, and I want to clarify because you were like, I feel like you didn't like it. I did like it, but I think Winona Ryder's acting in it is just so bad. I think the Lydia she plays in this version is very incongruous to the Lydia from the original version.
Was different, but you have to understand, and for those who don't know, it takes place obviously long? 30 years?
But the thing is, 30 years later.
I was just going to say, she's a mom in this one. So she's in a different place. Now her daughter, played by Jenna Ortega, is like the moody one. So it makes sense to me. I mean, but I see what you're saying. I do get what you're saying.
It doesn't make sense to me because I think about myself as a teenager, and obviously it hasn't been 30 years. Surprise, I'm 52 since I was a teenager. But I think my personality traits, like the hallmarks of my personality have been fairly consistent and probably will be until I die, God willing. But I think also like Winona Ryder, I love her as a person. I think like her other stuff, I liked her in Stranger Things. I just think her acting in it was bad. Like she was overacting. There was just like a lot, like she was, I don't want to say she was trying too hard, but it just like felt like she wasn't comfortable.
I see what you're saying about it. Did feel like a different character. One thing I'll say about Winona Ryder is like I thought because having her in Stranger Things is kind of what drew people to watching Stranger Things. Like it was like a big having her in it was like a big she's sort of like the queen of Halloween, queen of like spooky movies or whatever. So I thought her acting was actually very good in the beginning. I watch it now, like in the last couple seasons, I would say her acting has not been as good. But I don't know if that's just the character and the places they put her in. I don't know. But I do see what you mean. Like it's almost like she's sort of like overacting a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, it didn't really bother me too much in this movie because I wasn't really thinking of it like that. I just was like, oh, she's just a mom now. She's in a different situation.
Yeah.
I did think it was interesting just again, like I said, the way that they wrote the characters and what they're doing at this point in the, when the movie takes place, it was just so obviously, and if you don't know, just go Google it, but like the actor that played the dad in the first movie, he's a very bad person. He's done some awful things. So he was clearly, obviously not in the sequel.
Yeah.
And the way, I won't spoil it, but the way that they write him out of this movie was so wild.
It's weird because it's like they wrote him out and he's
but yet they still showed him
in it a lot.
Yeah, that surprised me because I did like...
Not the actual actor, but like...
I thought it was a creative way to write him out of the movie, but I did think then they continued showing him in just a different way.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole rest of the movie, and I was kind of like, okay, I mean, I feel like that's weird. I feel like we could have just forgotten about him. And I don't know if I should spoil it, but
I mean, it's not like just when you see it, you'll know. Like it's just interesting how they do it. It's not the actor, he's not in it, but his character is.
Yeah.
And he like
but there was just something I was going to say about something else, but then I was like, I don't know if that's going to spoil it. But
so I thought that was interesting. I think they just didn't need as much of him as they did. Like I think so this is a spoiler, but basically it happens in the first literally like 5 minutes of the movie. The dad from the first movie dies because that actor is awful.
Yeah.
I don't think they needed to have him in it like the way they did continuously like throughout, and like it didn't really add anything to the plot.
And also, so what I was going to say is like, so he dies and like, okay, the way that they write him off is kind of it's like it's a little bit funny, but they show Winona Ryder, it's her dad, it's her character's dad, and her reaction to it is like her dad died. Like, it's a pretty big deal, and she just didn't, like, there was no, but it is a comedy, so I guess I wasn't thinking too much into it, but I was like, man, for someone whose dad just died, she's not having a huge reaction to it.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think, like, in the first movie, you see she's, like, not close to her dad, but closer.
Kind of, yeah. It's her dad.
One thing for me, though, I did notice, and I feel like this was confirmed, I was listening to Pop Culture Happy Hour, is there was definitely a distinct lack of diversity in the film, which I think is kind of crazy for, like, 2024. I think it's, like, primarily white. Except for this, like, and I liked, and they do, like, the underworld thing, or, Afterlife is kind of like a...
Soul Train.
Yeah, the Soul Train.
So,
and that's, like, the only time you see black people, and it's almost like a caricature where they're, like, 1970s, and the thing is, it is fun, like, I enjoyed that, but I would enjoy it more if that wasn't the only time you saw, like, any sort of diversity.
The only thing I can say to that, though, is, like, the movie does take place, where does it take place, actually?
I believe Connecticut.
Yeah. I don't know if there's that much diversity in, like, a small town in Connecticut.
Yeah, that's true. And, like, they're using a lot of members of the original cast. But they started in New York, you know? Like, so...
That's true, yeah.
But
I'm not saying whether or not, I'm just saying that it
and they also had, like, an angry Asian man as a dry cleaner in one of the scenes. And I was just like, this feels very, like, I don't know. Yeah. Again, caricatures that don't feel appropriate for 2024.
Yeah.
But, I mean, besides that, I think it was, you know, I think it was well done. Like, I thought the Soul Train part was fun. I enjoyed it. There's not a lot of Harry Belafonte, but there is, like, they do call back to it in a very, I liked the way they do it.
Yes. I thought that was there is a scene that I thought, that's where I thought it was very funny, where I was like, I literally laughed out loud.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they have that. But I did think it was actually fun, because I think it'd be a bit much if they did Harry Belafonte again, because it's like, oh, that just seems like, I wouldn't want, like, a play-by-play of the first movie. And I thought it was interesting. So the first movie, what makes that movie so unique is the use of, like, Harry Belafonte songs.
Yeah.
In this one, like we just said, they had, like, the Soul Train. They use 70s music. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I thought, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I noticed this, and again, confirmed when I was, like, reading reviews and stuff. It did feel like there were a lot of subplots that weren't, like, kind of connecting to each other. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a whole plot of Beetlejuice's ex-wife comes, like, back to haunt him.
Yeah.
But then there's a whole subplot where Jenna Ortega's character is, like, talking to this boy. And then there's a subplot of Lydia's, like, her and her current, like, boyfriend or whatever. And it just felt like a lot, and I was like, I think we could take, like, a couple of these subplots out.
I will say, like, the scene, so Monica Bellucci plays the ex-wife, and, like, there really is no point to her other than her just, like, there to look hot, you know? And because, like, I think Beetlejuice does, like, make a mention of an ex-wife in the first movie,
he does.
I think. Yeah, so I guess that's what they were trying to do. But other than that, she really was not that relevant to the plot.
No, and it's weird because I looked at the movie poster when we left, and, I mean, I might be wrong remembering incorrectly, but, like, she's, like, the big person in the movie.
Yeah.
In the
it was
poster,
weird.
And then it's, like, everyone else is around her, and I'm like,
I wonder if they cut out scenes or something.
I don't know. So I thought that was weird. But I thought, like, the way they did Beetlejuice, I think Michael Keaton, like, phenomenal. I think he really carried through, like, it felt very much like the same Beetlejuice. I think he did a phenomenal job. He's like, hey there, everybody, mama, blah, 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 or whatever. I can't even do it in, like, such a grossly seductive way.
And Catherine O'Hara, like, literally is, to me, just the funniest person alive. Like, I love just her voice, and I always laugh in the first one when she screams. Like, she just has this particular scream that is just so funny.
Yeah.
And she was funny in this one too. I still loved her.
Yeah, I thought she was great. I think she did a phenomenal job. You know, and I think it's interesting because the original writers of Beetlejuice apparently have passed away. So the people who wrote this, they were writers on Wednesday and on Smallville. And when I learned that, I was like, I could kind of see that. Like, it does feel like very...
Wednesday I could see. I've never watched Smallville, so I don't know why that would be.
It feels like a little bit more palatable, whereas I think the first Beetlejuice, and I think it's like almost the same thing for Shrek, where it was like, people were like, what is this movie? This is a weird movie. And like they weren't putting a lot of effort into it, and it just gave room for creative people to be creative. And I think I love like when you see people who don't have like a huge budget for a film, and it's like the way they did the effects in the first one, the way they like had to get around things because they didn't have a huge budget is really interesting, and it makes it like almost feel like this homemade feeling to the first one that obviously, I mean, Tim Burton is a household name now, so they're like, here's billions of dollars. And so I just think like when you have to force people to be creative, you get like interesting and sometimes better results.
Yeah, I agree, because they can take liberties and but not be worried about whatever.
Overall, a fun watch. I think Justin Theroux was in it. I think I actually, not that I liked his character, I liked the way he played it. He was funny.
I liked him in it. I love Justin Theroux.
Yeah, he did really well. I love like I love the setting of the house because it's interesting. Like Tim Burton's style is so fascinating to me in that it's like things like sometimes he's like really weird with like sandworms coming out or whatever, and sometimes it's just like there's something about this house that just feels off, and it's just like a stark white house against the background, you know?
Yeah.
But I would say go see it. It's a fun watch. Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts?
I don't think so. I liked it a lot, and yeah, I agree.
So speaking of sandworms and sexy beasts, we have some questions of the week. We actually have technically 2 because we couldn't decide, and I also really wanted to know people's responses to one of them. So once again, if you want to respond every week, we do a question of the week. Follow us on @Poppin In Podcast on Instagram and respond. And if you're lucky, we'll read it out.
Yeah.
If you have a response.
So our poll, we asked who did it better, Sandworm from Beetlejuice or Sandworm from Dune? Drumroll, please.
That was louder than I thought. Sorry.
Sandworm from Dune won.
I voted for Sandworm from Dune. I actually thought in this movie, so obviously, like, Dune has been around longer than Beetlejuice, but, you know, Beetlejuice, I think, was more popular than the Dune movie when it came out. Notoriously, the first Dune movie was bad. I thought, like, the way they did the sandworms in this movie were very similar to, like, the feeling of the sandworms in Dune, so I thought they were, like, maybe going to do a joke at that or, like, play it off, and I thought they should have, because it just felt like, you know, very reminiscent of Dune, but...
Yeah, so Sandworm from Beetlejuice got 43%, and Sandworm from Dune got 57% votes.
I know. I actually expected them to, like, ride the Beetlejuice sandworm.
Yeah, they didn't show him as much.
No. He's interesting. But then our next one, so I was just curious, if you had to marry any monster, who would you marry and why? And I asked you this, and when you told me your response, I realized... we were on 2 different veins here.
Okay, and I'm going to keep it real. I think a lot of people were kind of confused by the question, which is what I was kind of saying. I'm like, I don't know if... because I will say, so I think... I thought you were asking... you came up with this question, and I thought you meant because of Beetlejuice, like a monster, you know, whatever, like a monster character.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, my first question... well, then how is it a different vein? I feel like I
mean, more so, like, my response is very me, and your response is going to be very you.
When you first asked, I was like, wait, my first thought was you meant, like, monster as in, like, the show Monster, so I thought you were talking about, like, serial killers.
Oh,
like, because we had just talked about that, so I was like, what, like, the Menendez brothers? Like,
which serial killer would you marry, and why is it Ted Bundy?
No. Ew, no. First of all, okay, let me just say something about Ted Bundy. People always think he was so hot. He was so ugly. What are we talking about here?
Okay, but like, what is it, the 70s? He was hot for, like, the 70s, you know? Like, you have to remember...
like,
people were hairier back then.
And I'm no shame to, like, unibrow. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, though, like, I guess I do wonder where people are... like, I look at him and I'm like, no.
As someone who could actively grow a unibrow, I'm very offended.
No shame. I'm not... no shame at all, unibrows. Again, I just personally, when I look at him, I'm like, no.
He's very 70s hot. And I think it's in the way that, like, people I see from, like, the 60s and 70s who are like, these were icons of the day. And it's like, yeah, I mean... for then, sure, it's, like, like, braces and plastic surgery or whatever. It's like... you know, sure, like...
I think they had braces in the 70s.
Probably. I don't think they were as popular now.
I don't know if they did, actually.
I think they did. I feel like I've seen pictures of people, like, I don't know. Which also, you know what I never understood is, like, why we were making fun of people for having braces? Because it's like, I'm gonna look stunning when I get these bitches off, you know? Like, I am going to have chompers of gold. Meanwhile... oh my god, thank you. Okay, I had 12 too many teeth when I was younger, so I had to get 12 teeth pulled.
How is that possible?
I just think about like what I would look like pre, like, I don't know, orthodontic care, and I'm here to say like I would be an old maid. Like I would be the monster people married.
Your teeth are so lined up. It's crazy.
Oh my god, thank you. I haven't worn my retainer in, I was thinking about it earlier, 11 years.
Oh, they're gonna shift.
Yeah, I know. My dentist actually like kind of freaked out when I told her.
Yeah,
And I was like,
still wear mine. I don't know how long I'm supposed to wear them. I think till I die.
why aren't I have the bottom retainer that keeps it like a permanent one? Why are we not putting that on the top? Why are we just like letting that go?
I have no idea. I don't really even understand. My retainers are like cracked. They probably shouldn't even be worn. I don't know. But
anyways, what monster would you marry and why? Should we do our responses first or
maybe sure.
Okay. So, I know you already told me yours, so I'm going to tell you mine, and mine is Sully from Monsters,
I haven't told
Inc.
people, but yeah. Okay, Sully. Oh, okay.
Yes. And here's why. It's because, like, he just gives very, like, grumpy hot guy vibes in that, like, he's grumpy to everyone, but he's, like, he's nice to you. Yeah, it's very, and it's, I was realizing, I was like, that's very, like, Darcy and Pride and Prejudice. Like,
funny.
Grumpy to everyone, but sweet on you. And that's what I love. The same thing with Shrek. Like, I was actually thinking about the line earlier.
Are you attracted to Shrek?
Yes. I'm attracted to his personality. I mean, people Shrek, human Shrek can get it. Like I thought he was very hot. I know you didn't agree.
I think Ogre Shrek is hotter than human Shrek, honestly.
Interesting.
I thought human Shrek is just like,
I do like a little bit of a bear look from a man, and I don't mean like hairy, but just like I want him to be like physically larger than me. But I love the line in Shrek 2 where he's like, Donkey's like, you don't want to become an ogre again? Like, you love being an ogre. And he goes, yeah, but I love Fiona more. And it's such a sweet line. Sweet. And it's just like, yeah, like, I don't know. Anyways, continue.
Beautiful. Okay, that's a good one. So, Sully from Monsters, Inc.
Yeah.
I didn't think about Monsters. See, I feel like I should have gotten examples from you.
It doesn't have to be There's no right or wrong answer.
Really
I thought yours was a good answer.
But I couldn't think. So that one's just like one I just thought of like immediately, which was I haven't even seen him yet. That's the crazy thing. I don't even know what he looks like. Okay, I was going to say it's no... I think it's Nosferatu. But like because Bill Skarsgård is playing him, so here's the thing is it's like I pre-know that I'm going to look him. He's not there. You can't see him.
I know. That's why I'm thinking of like.
Don't look at the old one.
I'm only picturing the image where it's like all you can see are like
his like teeth.
Yes, it's like the darkness. It's his eyes and like okay, isn't this doesn't he show up in SpongeBob?
Yes. But don't you know that he'd probably be like, wait,
that's you.
That's what it is. I mean, it is, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, you're kind of like, ooh.
There's something dark yeah.
Bill Skarsgård is going to play him in the, like, remake that's coming out.
I like an ugly man. Sometimes, like, they put in more effort, you know?
And don't you think Bill Skarsgård is going to be, like, so hot as him? Like, I just know it. I just know it.
Bill Skarsgård is hot as himself and as any other monster from the deep.
Exactly. So I just couldn't think of anything, so I just
cast him as Loch Ness Monster.
His body is like... So I panicked and couldn't think of anything else, and that's what I came up with. I think that's a good answer
for you.
So, we did get a couple responses. Okay. I don't know this one, but Megan said Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses.
That means nothing to me. I'm going to be honest, but I'm going to look it up. Hang on. Okay, interesting. This is also very Megan.
Yes. Oh, okay, that's why she was...
I have no idea what
So I do know who he is. That's a monster she would marry. Megan, that's insane.
Okay, I don't think you can judge because you just picked a little...
No, but he's great. So there's like a scene. So he's in that movie, but he's also in a movie called Devil's Rejects that we always quote. Like Matthew always quotes it. Megan always quotes it. But it's like where he's like, he basically pulls, he's trying to take a car from this woman and her son. And he's a clown. So he's like threatening them. And he's like, you don't like clowns? And he's like, don't you like clowns? Don't you think we're funny? And then he's like, he takes the car.
You kind of sounded like Matthew quoting that movie.
Oh, yeah. He quotes it all the time. And then he goes, he's like, I'm going to come back for you and your mama. And it's really wild. So anyway, that's who she was talking
Megan's
about.
Energy, I think.
It does. She loves him. So that makes sense. So Emily was very much on your...
Okay.
I think she was on your like thinking
train of thought.
Train of thought. So she said the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, okay.
But she said because he is rich, and I love that gay candle.
I love that gay candle. Lumiere. Actually,
Lumiere.
I think Lumiere and the
He
little
can get
feather
it.
duster are a hot little couple.
I know.
I think they are freaks in the sheets.
Yes.
Like literal
literally.
sheets. But I love that
The
for you.
literal sheets. The sheets that are probably also human.
Yeah, they're also alive.
Imagine being the bed and you're just like...
That's the thing with Beauty and the Beast.
Imagine
Is like
being the bed that's alive, that the beast...
Okay, that's one thing is okay, 2 questions. In Beauty and the Beast, where does the inanimate live object stop? Like, does it stop at my shoes?
Well, no,
what about my socks?
No.
What about
if you remember, they were humans, they were part of the staff, and then they got turned into like random inanimate objects. So it's not like every single one of his furniture is alive. It's just like it happens to be the ones that were turned into.
Right. And also, like, how are they having sex? Like, that is just, like, you know, I mean, granted, they don't cover that in the Disney princess lore, but it's just, like, what's going on there?
Are you talking about the Beast and
yeah.
I mean, he turns into they don't have sex during the movie.
I mean, just
he turns
like,
into a human at the end.
But, like, you know, when
they
the
don't
movie
have to worry about
roll
it.
credits, they're, you know, like, we're together now, we're married, and...
But you don't have to worry about it because they're not in that situation. He turns into a human at the end, you know?
Yeah, but then they do sequels and he's a beast again.
He is? How did that happen? Oh.
I don't know.
So it's a thing called bestiality. Literally bestiality.
Yes.
So
invented because of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. So I think they find a way.
But that does track for Emily. She does love a rich man.
Yes, I thought that was a very good answer. And I was like, honestly, that's a really good one. Also, the house is so big that if you don't like each other, she can be in her library.
Yeah, exactly. Know? I mean, there's a lot of problems with that story in general, but I used to always dress up as Belle. I remember it was
I did too. I dressed as her for Halloween one year.
I did it it was like senior week or something in high school, and I literally, this was so stupid of me, I brought a stack of books, like a whole, like from my waist to like the top of my chin to carry around with me all day. Why did I do that? I was so stupid.
Were you wearing the blue dress or the yellow dress?
I was wearing a yellow dress that I got from Goodwill that my science teacher told me made me look like Trailer Park Belle. But he also said the same thing when I dressed up as Dorothy with a...
Trailer Park Dorothy?
Yes! And...
she kind of already was Trailer Park, so...
Yeah, she literally... Yeah, exactly. Anyways. But I just think about... I'm like, I can't believe my science teacher told me that.
Wait, that's so inappropriate.
I got bullied, like, kind of by my teachers in high school.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Wow. I have, like, a very vivid memory of my mom bought me the Beauty and the Beast, like, yellow dress from... the Disney store, and I was wearing gloves. Like, I wore the costume out of the store, and we went to like eat. Like, I remember being in a mall, and I was like trying to eat like a cookie, and I still had my gloves on. So I was getting chocolate all over the white gloves.
Oh,
I don't know why I dressed as her for Halloween, because I didn't have brown hair. So
I picture you as Rapunzel, but you're like in your tower with your little iPad, and like the guy comes to save you, and you're just like. No, wait. No. Let me finish this Kardashian compilation.
Hey.
Okay, sorry. Keep
I would love to have. Honestly, if like Tangled had been a thing when I was a kid, I probably would have really loved it.
Rapunzel's been around
I still
for a
love
long
Tangled.
Time. Yeah.
I know, but I'm saying Tangled because she wears like the purple dress. It's really cute. Anyway, so and then Eric said Salma Hayek as a vampire in the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. Self-explanatory.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen it either, but I know what he's talking about. You know what? Oh man, I didn't even think about vampires. Can I change my answer?
Edward. Is
Nosferatu Edward.
Is he not a vampire?
He
what
is.
He?
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah. Wait, why did I say Nosferatu and not Edward the vampire? I'm so stupid.
I like Nosferatu. Oh wow, this very much gives like Carmen Electra.
Is this a Quentin Tarantino movie?
I don't know. For context, where you pulled up Salma Hayek and Dusk Till Dawn, hot.
Wait, that's
how does anyone have a stomach?
Can you click
flat?
on that? No, I know. Seriously. I feel like, is that not Quentin Tarantino?
Is that George Clooney?
What are we looking at?
What if I Googled?
It's giving Britney.
Yeah. No, I thought it was Christina Aguilera.
With the snake?
Oh, but Christina Aguilera has like a very similar outfit to that. Ooh, I love when Google shows it's like the hidden eye and it's like view this image.
If you click on it, it's not bad at all.
It's literally the same thing I've just been looking at.
I wonder what triggered that.
The first time I saw that was when I was looking at Black Dahlia murder photos, and they weren't showing you any of them. And
If it wasn't so like disrespectful, I would tell you should dress as her for Halloween because you kind of look like her.
There's a really good podcast called Root of Evil, and it's from the descendants of the guy who supposedly like murdered her, and they are like products of incest, and they talk about that. But it's also like
Alexa, see, this is why I wish you would watch Murder House. Like, I wish you would go back. Like, that's a whole storyline.
Incest makes me really uncomfortable.
No, not that. Okay, I'm sorry. The Black Dahlia. That's like a whole storyline. The thing about it is like LA is so haunted, and like they cover that in Murder House. Like, you would love it.
Can I tell you something really gross about the Black Dahlia?
Sure.
Okay, when I was learning about it, there's like this whole thing where they like do a autopsy and they see what's in her intestines, and it's like he had forced her to eat her own fecal matter.
Yes, I know.
And that is besides the whole thing that he like
trigger
cut up her entire body. Okay. Like I'm like, that's the worst part to me. That's awful.
Isn't that? I hope she was like not to say I hope she was unconscious, but I hope she did not experience that.
I don't know. Anyways, back to what monster you would marry. How did we go from Beauty and the Beast to...
I don't know.
Anyways.
Well, so those were our questions of the week. Again, if you want to participate in our question of the week, go to our Instagram and answer our questions. They're usually pretty fun.
They are. They're things I think of. I asked Ashley and my other friend group, shout out to Tanya and Emily, I ask them like my random questions every day that come into my mind. And I ask Chris usually too, and he's just like, I don't know, Alexa, I'm not thinking about these situations.
They are pretty random. I feel like sometimes we workshop them together to make them.
I'm just always curious.
No, they're good questions.
But I want to get into, I think like the next thing we should talk about is Mormon wives.
Yes.
Not Mormonism. Well, also Mormonism. Okay.
We don't have enough time to get into that.
Yeah, the Book of Mormon. I just pull out the book. It's like page 1. Okay, so if you guys don't know, Hulu has a new series out. It's called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And I'm not usually like a reality show person, but I did it for you all, and also because I'm actually super fascinated by like modern day Mormonism. After I watched like Under the Banner of Heaven, and then there's like this TikTok guy at BYU, which is actually
Brigham Young University.
I was gonna say Birmingham Young University, Brigham Young University, and he always goes around. He interviews like students there, and he'll be like, "What's your favorite like party drink?" And they'll be like, "Diet Coke," or whatever, or like it's such a fascinating.
It is
like. I don't know.
They have such
culture shift.
Wild rules. Like they don't drink coffee.
Okay, so I want to now. Okay, I have to bring this up. So they can't drink coffee or tea, and I don't know if it's because of the caffeine or something, because it's supposed to be like your body is like a temple or whatever. The amount of soda that they drink is insane, to the point where they talk about on the show, like every corner that you go to in Salt Lake City has it's like it's a soda shop. Like that's what they do. They have soda jerks. It's like 1 billion flavors of soda, and they're like, I'm drinking a 40 ounce of soda every day.
But that doesn't make sense. You can get addicted to sugar too.
Yeah.
So what is it like? Where are we drawing the line?
Yeah, I'm like, this is, I would say, arguably worse for you almost than coffee. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I think when what's Joseph whatever? I was supposed to say Joseph Levitt, the guy who started Mormonism. Joseph Smith is his name. He didn't know about the Coke freestyle machine, so he's not like, oh, we should take this out too.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So this is kind of a weird fact about me, but I once went to a Mormon prom when I was in high school, and it was fascinating. So there's actually, where we live, there's a lot of Mormon families, and so we had a friend who was Mormon. He's still Mormon. We had a friend in high school who's Mormon, and he brought like a group of us to his Mormon prom, which was like his church, like threw a big prom. And let me tell you, they have a lot of money. So those proms were actually crazy. Yeah. Like, and they had like live bands. They had every room. It was like a whole theme, and like they had like, just every room had a thing in it. Like it was actually very fun. Yeah. It was just very unique. It was a very interesting experience. But while we were going, so we had to we all went to like a house where everybody was taking pictures like beforehand. And my friend and I showed up. We had gotten strapless dresses for this prom, but we knew we were supposed to wear a shawl with it. You can't have your shoulders like uncovered. But like for the pictures, we were like, well, we want to not wear the shawl, so we just left them in the car, and we want
to be hot little bitches.
Yeah, but we weren't thinking that we were gonna like offend a whole like, because there were a lot of, it was like families were there taking pictures, and this one lady came up to us with, I'm not kidding, a rack of shawls, like shrugs, and was like, hey girls, like, do you need one of these? And we were like, oh no, we have some in the car, like, thank you. But like, it was just that concerning to them that they literally came up to us with like a rack of shrugs.
So that's interesting, because I am like in two veins, like watching this show where, okay, like Mormons are more conservative, right? So like the whole thing is supposed to be like these women are housewives, but they're actually the breadwinners because they've made like such a amount of money like as influencers. And sometimes I'm like, I cannot believe some of the things they're doing. I'm like, I thought you were Mormon, but also at the same time I'm like, I am not like a women should be like a certain way type of thing. But I think that's what has made them so popular, is because they are Mormon. If they were just like not regular, but like any other type of woman or whatever doing the things that they're doing, people would just be like, whatever. But it's because they're Mormon, and it feels so like
well, no, I think there's like a whole scandal with them. That's why they made a reality show. So let's like give the background. So let's go back to like they're from TikTok, right? Like, aren't they like?
So the main, I don't want to say main character, but the one who started it all, her name is Taylor, and she started. It's called Mom Talk, which I think is like for Mormon moms.
Which, by the way, sorry, but my favorite like thing is from the show. Can Mormon Mom Talk survive this? That's my favorite line.
I have to say, okay.
Also, shout out Hannah, my sister-in-law, friend of the pod, for giving a lot of background info for me, because I did not watch the show, but she filled me in a lot today.
I feel like we got to get together, Hannah, because I think we have similar interests.
We are going to have her on the show at one point, but for something else.
I'm going to refill for this. And shout out to Cindy.
I'm sorry, Mormon moms, that you cannot drink this.
Yeah,
but
friend of the pod, and also friend of Molly, because she's her mom, Cindy. She got us, it's a Piggly Wiggly from Hilton Head Island in South Carolina, Sauvignon Blanc, and it's lovely.
It has a pear flavor to it.
Yeah, that's what we've decided. I don't know anything about wine, so.
Oh, your hands are a little...
She said, what?
It was a little shaky there. I was worried.
I have to hold my pinky up because my cat's like accidentally
I should have poured it
scratched
for you.
It's okay. I'm not like an invalid.
Yeah, but I was worried a little bit.
I'm one finger down.
Can't see where this is going on.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's a nice pairing.
Yeah.
Nice pair.
Nice pairing. Okay, so
thanks,
back
Mom.
to thank you. So it started out with this woman named Taylor. Her and her friend started making these TikToks where it's like they're kind of dancing, and they call it Mom Talk, and it's like, oh, you like Mormon moms aren't supposed to be doing this, and it's like they're just like dancing.
Sorry,
like,
that's like very cringe to me.
And I've watched like all of them by this point.
I'm not saying ew to Mormon moms. I'm just
So what happened was, then they brought in like this other girl, and they were like making these TikToks or whatever, and they got really famous because, again, these women are all beautiful. You have to understand, they all look exactly the same though. Like literally, Chris saw me watching it. He was like, "What? Why did they all look like that?" And I was like, "That's just like a thing for like Mormon culture. Like I thought it was like they didn't wear a lot of makeup, like they take really good care of themselves, but they actually are all like doing Botox, and they have lip fillers because apparently that's allowed." But anyways.
Interesting.
So they're all like stunning. They pull this other girl in. So what's happening in the background of this is they are swinging with their husbands, and the husbands, so like it's like,
wait, are you serious?
Yeah. And one of them is like, I think they call it like soft swinging, where it's like they're doing everything but sex, but like some of them are having like sex with each other's husbands. So it's like these three original girls, that's what's going on. And then they start to bring other people into quote unquote Mom Talk, which they talk about it like it's this institution. It's just a hashtag. I need to like, if you don't know, it's just hashtag Mom Talk. Yeah. It's literally, you just made it up. It's like, what, 6 letters? That's what it is. Anyway, so they bring these other Mormon moms in as well, and they're like dancing or whatever. Then a scandal comes to light, and this was like a year or so ago, that Taylor and the original 2 are swinging with each other, and it all blows up because people start having feelings for each other, like, and I guess it's like 2 of the husbands start having feelings for Taylor, who's like the original creator of Mom Talk.
Yes.
So then the other moms who had been brought in after are kind of mad at Taylor because they're like, we aren't swinging, but now everyone thinks we are because we're also a part of this mom talk group. And now they think that all these like Mormon wives are swinging. So
sorry, Hannah, you did tell me they were swinging. I totally missed that.
That's a crazy thing to miss.
I missed that. I guess I was thrown off at first, but then I thought about it, and I know that's not a current thing, but I think, wasn't it like kind of Mormon wives were a thing at one point, like having multiple wives in Mormon?
I think
so
traditionally,
I guess
and there's a really good show called Under the Banner of Heaven.
Yes, great
that
show.
Goes like into this, and I think like it's not in modern day Mormonism, it's not practiced, but it was like I think in some like very strict sects of it. SECTS, sects of it, they still maybe do that, which is why like you'll see like they break up these polygamy rings, or like you'll see like the Sister Wives show or whatever. But I'm just gonna look up their names because again they look so much similar. Like between the first episode and the second episode, I literally had to like Google people to be like, who am I looking at on?
There's like 9 of them.
Yeah, there's 9 of them. They all look very similar. So anyway, so that's where the show starts out. So the only one from the original swinging scandal is Taylor. The others are ones who are brought into like the mom talk stuff like later on. And so it starts out there, and the first episode is really interesting because they set the first episode, you meet everyone, and then the second episode happens 11 months later. So in the first episode, they're talking to Taylor, and they're like, hey, we're really mad that you, like, set us up, kind of, like, you came onto TikTok to talk about, like, you guys swinging into, like, whatever, and then Taylor, like, says, like, she's like, she's with her boyfriend at the time, Dakota, and she's like, I'm gonna go out and like I'm gonna get drunk and I'm gonna get trashed, and he's like, well, I don't like think we should be doing that. She does it anyways, and then you see like from police body cam, she gets arrested for domestic abuse because she went over to, and I think it's Dakota's. At first I thought it was her ex-husband, so she got divorced from the guy that she was originally swinging with.
Which again, I don't even think you're allowed to get divorced.
You're not supposed to, but most of these women are. Which is interesting. And so she has 2 kids with her original husband that she was swinging with. So anyway, so she gets arrested, and then it like jumps to 11 months later, and Taylor, the original like mom talk person, is pregnant with this Dakota's child. But also in the first episode, so they set it up, I'm trying really hard, like, if you're getting bored, just let me know, but they set it up, it's, like, basically, like, this other girl, her name is Whitney, versus Taylor, because Whitney wants to take over the Mom Talk group. She's like, we need a leader, we need to bring Mom Talk back together. Can Mom Talk survive this? They say it so, it's like...
It's my favorite line,
it's like, so funny. What do you mean? Like, none of these people were friends before Mom Talk.
Oh, really?
Like,
they don't all live in the same area and know each other?
They do, but they weren't, like, and I think this is, like, something that really pisses me off about, like, Real Housewives and reality TV shows. Like, they have all this drama, and they're like, well, I thought you're not being a very good friend to me, and I'm like, what about our friendship, blah blah blah. And I'm like, there is no friendship.
Yeah, that like, people always make fun of that on like Big Brother or whatever, where they're like, you are my closest friend, like I trust you more than I can trust anybody, and it's like they met them literally 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and it's just like, you're not friends. Like, if this were real life and you didn't have like a reality show or whatever, like, you would just stop talking to that person.
Quick side note, on Real Housewives, I've actually, because I don't really watch Real Housewives, and I know them as figures, and I know like parts, like iconic parts from the show, but I don't actually know like the origin of them. Are they not already friends? Like, do they not already all know each other?
I don't know, but we're about to record a special reality episode with a special guest that will know. She's watched all of them.
You're right. Okay.
But it's very much set up like Real Housewives. Like, all reality shows like this have the same, where they do like the exposing shot, and then they have like cool metropolitan beats music playing in the background. And anyways, so it's very much set up like Whitney is supposed to be the villain of the show, essentially. And she has gone on, now that she's actually watched it, because they don't get to watch it like until it's released to the world.
Right.
And she's like, I got a really bad edit. I think she is kind of just a bitch, but it's interesting because I think that is like a thing on reality TV where it's like, you don't know how they're going to edit you. And there's certain things that are left out of the edits that I was reading about that I find very interesting. So there's one girl, her name is Michaela, and there's this whole, like, thing in the background of the show. Like, I'm sitting here watching her, and there's something just, and I don't mean to say, like, she's beautiful, but there's something about her face where I'm like, she looks sick. Like there's something like her eyes are very like hollowed in, and I looked it up, and she's like suffering throughout this whole show with chronic illness. And so she has this thing where it's like her whole body will suddenly be covered in rashes. She had like I think like mercury poisoning or something from like the teeth or whatever in her mouth or whatever. They do nothing. And she said, she was like, I basically just look like I'm not doing anything in the show because I'm like in so much pain. I'm like suffering the whole time. And they literally, she had to get her breast implants taken out because they were making her sick. And she's like, they filmed it. They did like this whole thing and it doesn't appear in the show. Like it's a whole storyline that doesn't appear in the show. Yeah. So it's like the editing just, I don't know. But so what's interesting also about her is she got pregnant at 16. Her husband, the guy who got her pregnant, was 21. And they had to get married. They now have 3 children, and they allude to this. They're not. She blatantly like says that in the first episode. She's like, I got pregnant at 3. Like she had 3 children before the age of 23 or whatever. But the fact that her husband is 21, she basically was like forced to marry him, and because she was pregnant, you know. So it's just like things like that where there's just like these weird controversies.
Well, wait, why didn't he get arrested? He was 23 and she was 16.
I guess because like she wasn't pressing charges, you know, like if your parents consent to it, I think like you can marry someone at 16. It's very, it's like kind of crazy. There's also like this whole thing in the first episode where Whitney, the one who I said like is the villain, her husband comes out and he says he has like a porn addiction and he had been on Tinder their whole marriage. She says, God. And she said he wasn't seeing anyone, but like they were sending pictures, he was sending pictures, whatever. Also, there's this whole thing where people keep saying they're like, well, your husband's also gay, but yeah, he does seem interesting, but or not interesting, but like he just seems, I don't know, their relationship is very interesting.
Well, Hannah and I were talking about that today, where it's like she was listening to Giggly Squad, and they were like, do you know that, like, do they know that their husbands are gay? Yeah, like literally all of them.
Yeah. But so he talks about that in the first episode, and then it jumps 11 months, and I haven't finished. I still have 3 episodes left. They never bring it up again. And I saw this thing where this person on TikTok was talking about, like, apparently he has this whole thing where, like, as a child, and I should say content warning for sexual assault, but he was, like, sexually assaulted, and he had been whatever. And this is unconfirmed. I just, like, this is what people have been saying on the internet. But they don't talk about it at all. They don't bring it up. And it's like, that's an interesting, I don't know, but
I mean, if he doesn't want it seems like,
I guess,
on a reality show.
I guess, but so it's all very interesting, but there's also like these funny moments because again, they're Mormon. So they don't, like, a lot of them don't drink, but some of them do. But like Whitney and her husband, they just bought a house, so they literally drink champagne for the first time ever. They couldn't figure out really how to open it, for one thing, and they just like take a sip of it, and then she's like, "Bleh, bleh," and like literally like goes and rinses her mouth out in the sink. And it's just very, like, funny to me. And then, like, I just, again, they drink so much soda. And they're just forcing this friendship on each other that it's just very interesting to me. And it's all for, like, mom talk. And it's all, like, this weird thing of Mormonism. But then they're just, like, kind of, like, dancing very provocatively on camera. And again, there's, like, in this whole thing, like, in Mormon culture, like, your body is a temple, you're not supposed to put whatever, like, all this stuff in it, but they're allowed to get Botox and lip fillers, but because they can't do any drugs, they love getting Botox done because they do laughing gas when they get Botox done. So they, like, make this whole joke where they're like, oh, are they going for the Botox or for the laughing gas? And I'm like, just smoke some weed. Like, just, what? You're out here just getting, like, laughing gas? I'm like, just, it's fine. Like, just, I don't know. So it's very interesting. And I also want to bring up, there's like this whole controversy again where Whitney gets mad at Taylor, the one who was swinging. And she's like, they ask her, they're like, are you jealous of Taylor? And she was like, I'm jealous because people forgave her for being a swinger, but people didn't forgive me for, and this is so crazy to me, her son, her little infant son, had RSV and was in the hospitalized for it, and she made a TikTok dancing video, and her son is in the background, like in one of those little like baby, like the clear baby, I don't want to say bins, but beds or whatever, and she was like, it was supposed to be a happy video because like he was having like a good day, and people apparently roasted her for making TikToks of her dancing with her extremely sick baby in the background. Like, it's actually crazy to me. And so it's just like, I don't know. It's just very interesting. It's entertaining to watch. I think it's like a fascinating show, but I was like also looking at like Mormon reactions to it, and they'll say, they're like, you're not going to learn anything about Mormonism on it. You know, it's just very interesting. And also, like, because all these women like have had so much work done, they'll show their ages and they look so old.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think you would find it entertaining. The drama is interesting, but again, I think people wouldn't care as much if they weren't Mormon, because the things that they're doing, they just like, they feel, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe a Mormon woman is doing this. Whereas it's like like regular, like non-Mormon women do this stuff every day.
Yeah. Okay, 3 things.
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, I think it's funny that apparently there's a girl on there named, well, it looks like Demi, but it's Demi.
Yeah.
I find that funny, first of all, that there's Demi is spelled the same way as Demi, but some people go by Demi and some people go by Demi. It's like, how are you supposed to know?
Yeah,
unless there's a little like,
it's like Elena, Alana. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, there is a girl on there who is like a hairstylist.
Yes.
What's her name?
Jen.
Jen. One of Hannah's friends knows Jen.
Yeah.
Like, he has the hair salon, or he works at a hair salon, and she like came in and bought stuff. So I guess he was watching the show and was like, I know her.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I thought that was funny.
She also, her hair salon, she says in the first episode, it's called Jay-Z Styles or whatever.
And it's like Jizz Styles.
Like, she's like, if you think that and it's J, and then it has like a line in between the Z, and there's big billboards.
Yeah, that's like
and she's like, if you're thinking it's Jizz like salon or whatever, then you need to get your head out of the gutter. And I'm like, just look at it. Like,
yeah,
it's Jizz.
And she's just like embarrassed because that's hilarious.
It's Jizz salon.
Yeah. Okay, third, I am confused by the whole premise, because like, first of all, are they practicing Mormons? Like, are they practicing their religion?
Yeah, some of them are like more like, they have this whole joke where like, you know, someone will be like, I'm like a 9 on the Mormon scale, and she's like, well, if you're a 9, then I'm a 12 or whatever. So they're all practicing, but some of them are like more than others. Like, so there's one girl, her name is Jen Affleck, and her husband is a second cousin to Ben Affleck, but that
I was
really
wondering
matter.
that actually.
She's like, I've never met him.
Yeah.
And they have a whole storyline apparently where like he's studying to be a surgeon, but she makes all the money, and he like gambles like a bunch of their money. Anyways, so there's like this whole scene where they're taking a trip together, and they're always taking all these trips together, and I'm like, why? Y'all hate each other. And they're like, I just really wanted this to be a good birthday. And I'm like, did you? Because like, it's just, and I get it's for reality, it's to move the plot forward, but anyways.
Well, so the reason I was asking was because like, I feel like they would not be allowed to be doing this if they were really practicing in the Mormon church. So I'm very confused by this.
I think there's like levels of Mormons. So like for example, like, okay, so Jen Affleck, they go on this trip, and she's like, oh my God, I forgot my underwear. As in, like, if you don't know, Mormons have like, I think it's like a special underwear that they wear under all their stuff. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot it. But the others, like, some of them don't wear that, you know, and some of them do. And so I think it's just like a level of practicing, you know?
I guess, but I mean, I think you, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure you can like get in trouble with the Mormon
you can
church.
be excommunicated.
Right, so that's what I'm saying is like, how is a reality show where they're talking about their religion and like really diving into their personal lives like this? Like, that's why I'm like, are they actually practicing, or are they just like, I'm from Salt Lake City and like I was Mormon, but I'm not anymore. Like, are they actually
It's
Mormon?
very confusing to me, and I would be curious to know like what people in their community think, because they're like, we're supposed to be putting like a modern face to Mormonism. I think like for the Mormon church, it's doing 2 things. I think for like very conservative Mormons, they probably feel like embarrassed and are like, I can't believe they're doing it. But I think for people who recognize that like the Mormon church has had like kind of a bad face recently, I think it's going to like bring people to Mormonism, because here's the thing. They are creating this Mormon brand of really pretty like women who like have a lot of money and whatever. And I think like people are going to be drawn to that, as they tend to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they can really be like, it's a lot of work to join the Mormon church. I don't know if
I don't think you can. It's not like something you join lightly, but I think it's like putting that in front of people.
Yeah.
However, I will say, like, I don't know, I think Mormonism, if you're not born into it, I think sometimes it is very hard to acclimate to that culture.
Yeah.
Like, I would never... So, my first encounter with Mormonism was in middle school. My neighbor was Mormon. I had a huge crush on him, and we were, like, friends. And I just remember, like, him talking about, he's like, yeah, like, I mean, I can't really, like, date someone who's not Mormon. And I didn't get it at the time. I was like, okay. And now I'm like, yeah, yeah, like, we don't have the same values. We don't have, like, I wouldn't understand, what do you mean, like, the man carries the priesthood? I'd be like, I'm delivering this baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, we didn't have children together. I was, like, 11. But, so, I don't know what their levels are. And I think, like, you wouldn't be able to have this show with, like, very, I think, conservative Mormon women. Because I think people would just really, like, it outside of Mormon culture be, like, hating on it a lot. So I think it does bring a more modern face to Mormonism.
And maybe I'm just thinking they're more militant than they are, but I guess that's why I'm a little confused about the show, because I'm like, are they Mormons or are they not? Because, like, I just know, from what I know about them, like, and, you know, the religion and the church as a whole, like, I don't think they would be real crazy about the fact that there's a Hulu reality show where they're, you know, swinging and going to Vegas and, like, doing all this stuff and, like, you know, talking about Botox and popping champagne and, like, I mean, they're not supposed to drink. So, like, where is that coming from? You know what I mean?
It's interesting because it shows up in weird ways. Like, again, Jen Affleck, I think, is, like, probably the most traditional... Jen Affleck.
It's just funny.
Is probably the most traditional one. And you can tell that she very much just kind of listens to her husband and, like... And again, I haven't finished the show, but, like, kind of is just like, well, he's the husband. Like, I'm... Not, like, doing
they
what
serve
he's...
them, yeah.
Yeah, essentially. And it shows up, or, like, you know, there's this whole thing where, like, her husband graduates from BYU, and at the party, like, one of the other husbands and his wife they're just taking swigs of vodka from a canister or whatever, and, like, Jen is like, I'm not inviting them to our baby blessing next week. Like, this is, like...
They're uninvited to the baby blessing.
Yes. They're like, this is, like, extremely disrespectful. Like, and it's just crazy. They're all getting into a hot tub. They're like, let's party. And they're holding Coke. Like Coca-Cola. Not even, like, the fun stuff, you know? And so that part is just interesting to me. And it also, you can tell by all of these women, for the most part, are, like, very young in terms of, like, there's this one girl, her name is Layla, she's 22 or 23, she's like, I've never had an orgasm, because she got married to this guy that she got pregnant with when she was in high school, and, like, she basically alludes to the fact that, like, she was kind of forced to marry him, but you can tell, like, by how young all of the women are married, and all of them have multiple children, and they just keep having children.
Yeah. And I was, like, kind of startled. You had, like, you had it pulled up or something when I came over, and I was like, wait, I'm confused. I thought they were, like, moms. Why are they, like, hot? They look like they're college students or something.
They're all very hot.
But I guess they're all
young.
Yeah.
They're all so young. And it's just, I think, like, you can tell, and also when they talk about, like, so Taylor, she got divorced, and she started dating, like, this guy Dakota, and they hadn't been together that long, and already they were like, well, do you think you could see us getting married? You know, like, so it's just, they're all, like, dating to marry. It's very, like, oh, if I'm dating someone, we're probably gonna get married very quickly or whatever. Right, and Taylor is, like, the most, like, outside of the bunch, where she's pregnant with this guy's baby and they're not getting married. And her parents, like, freak out at the fact that he's moving in with her.
Yeah.
Because she's about to have his child. And the dad is like, what, you're gonna be here and you knocked up my daughter? And he's like, I just don't think you guys should live together. I think you need to wait. And they're like, well, I think that train has already passed. Like, you know what I mean? So it comes out in interesting ways. It's like, you can see the modernism in them, and also, like, the conservative Mormon values that are, like, underlying, that they've just been, like, raised in to accept.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I just find it's good. I'm not, like, a big reality show person, but I've watched all of it now.
Remind me to tell you something after the podcast. I just remembered, but
well, now everyone's gonna be so fascinated to know. But yeah, so that's all I have to say about it. But
interesting.
Going into, like, another mom, I just want to touch on lightly. Kate Middleton had an announcement recently that she is cancer free, and I really wanted to touch on it because I know when the whole thing of, like, where's Kate, and, like, disappeared, and we were also talked about that in our first 2 episodes, and we never gave an update on it, that she had been diagnosed with cancer. I don't think she's ever said what kind of cancer. But And that's what had been going on. And she released like this it was actually a really lovely video on Instagram of her and Will and their kids. And it felt very like home video, but obviously very produced. Like it was done by like a production company. But where she's just like, you know, she's done with her chemotherapy and she's looking forward to the future. And it's just her and the kids, and they're kind of like, it just felt very nice. It was lovely. And I am obsessed with Kate Middleton. So, or I used to be. I used to like have a calendar where every month was a picture of Kate Middleton. And after I went through the year, I ripped out the photos. I had them laminated and I put them on my dorm room wall. Once again, I'm weird. Like,
I mean, I think a lot of girls are like that with Kate, but that is interesting.
We had in high school, it was like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up day? And I dressed up as Kate Middleton.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, that doesn't really make sense.
I think I've told you this, but I also dressed up as a princess for like career day or whatever. Like as a joke, I wore like a tiara. It wasn't specifically Kate, but it was. But yeah, I feel bad for her because I think I do wonder if she might feel a little forced to have to like give updates and make announcements. And I mean, people were so... And I mean, us included, we kind of, because there was like sort of almost like a jokey element of like, where is Kate? Like she, you know, there was like the whole AI, the AI thing was, or not the AI, but the edited ring thing was a little weird still on their part. Like I will say that, but I do feel bad that she, you know, this should be sort of a private thing, and she kind of, but I mean, when you're in that.
Yeah,
when you're in that position, that's just what you have to do.
I mean, it's the same thing with, like, you know, she had a baby, and then it's, like, 3 hours later, she has to stand on a step and be like, here's my baby. And it's like, she's probably still bleeding, you know?
Yes.
Which is so crazy that they make her do that. But it is a private thing, but also she's such a public figure.
Yeah,
you know?
That's what I mean is, like, she does sort of, you know, it's not she owes it, but, like, that is almost, like, her duty, which is unfortunate, but... Yeah,
but very happy for her. It's a lovely video. Every time I hear her voice, it's so strange to me because I feel like I rarely hear her talk. I always just see pictures of her.
I know. She's so graceful. She's very beautiful. At Wimbledon, was it Wimbledon? Was it that where... Was it there where she made her, like, first public appearance? She came down and everybody was, like, standing up and applauding for her. And it, like, made me a little emotional because, like, she got a standing ovation and it was right after she had, like, made the announcement. It was her first public appearance in, like, forever. And it was just really...
I don't think people give her, like, enough credit for being, like, a smart, like... I just think she's a great... I really like her. And one of the reasons I really liked her in college, though, is... So, her and Will actually broke up in 2007. And the way that she, like, essentially got him back is just, like, so brilliant. Like, she just went out and looked as hot as she possibly could to, like, clubs with her sister, making sure, like, she was photographed in, like, and she was, like, working out, like, she was just, like, immediately after, like, he broke up with her, and she's like, well, I'm going to look like something you're going to regret to lose. Mm-hmm. And it's just phenomenal, the pictures of her during that time. It was very, like, smart, and, like, I love her.
Yeah.
I think she's great. But yeah, so also this past week, sorry, I feel like I'm just talking, like, at you.
It's okay.
What do you want to go? What do you want to talk about? Look at our list of topics and you tell me.
I feel like we should talk about the MTV VMA Awards.
Oh my god, perfect. That's what I wanted to talk about. So I didn't watch them like live, but I stayed up till like 2 a.m. last night watching Mormon Wives, and then the VMAs. And I really enjoyed the performances, and I made Molly watch, so Benson Boone, his performance has turned me into a huge fan of his, and I think I would give my soul to be with him.
It was an interesting performance. It was good.
He does this, so if you don't know, it's like the song, I don't know the lyrics, like, da, da, beautiful things or something like that.
Yeah, you've heard it on TikTok.
You've definitely heard it.
It was a really good performance. He started out on the piano, and then he started on the piano, and then he stood up and was kind of, walking around, and then randomly did a whole gymnastics routine on the stage.
It's crazy because it's like there's this moment in the song where it goes from being like kind of demure to then just being like bah. And in between it, he literally is standing on a stage. He does a full backflip and immediately, or front flip.
He did a front flip first.
Front flip, yeah. Immediately, like, without, like, missing a step or a beat, like, he lands.
No, he did it on the beat. Like, he did it on
the beat. His feet hit the ground. He's singing again, and it sounds phenomenal.
I know.
And that's why I'm like, I am here for that man. That is incredibly hard to do. And I was like, imagine if you tripped.
I know. And then he did a backflip later. And I was telling Alexa, it honestly reminded me of the Jonas Brothers because they used to do that. Like, they would do backflips during their concerts. And it was so random. Like, it didn't fit at all. Like, no part of their song justified doing backflips. Like, none of their songs. But it was still so fun. You're just like, what?
I think about this all the time. Like, imagine practicing doing a backflip. Like, your goal is, like, to do a front flip or a backflip. How do you start? Because I'm here to tell you, I would try, and then I would immediately go to the hospital.
I've actually never done a flip in my life.
I can't even do a tumble, like, since birth, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not built for that. My knees are not built for it. I am slowly whittling away by the minute. I don't think I've
done a somersault since tumbling class as a child.
I still can't do, what's the thing where you're like, you go like this and your hands go...
Cartwheel?
A cartwheel. I can't do a cartwheel.
I'm gonna make you do a cartwheel.
I don't think we should. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna hurt myself. Like, and it's, again, imagine, like...
Do you want me to teach you?
It's too late for me. I think it really is.
I really want to teach
you. It's too late for me and my old little body. Can you do one? Because I want to see you do one.
I mean, I guess so. I don't know if I've shown someone a cartwheel in a long time, but...
I feel like it's going to be like those little kids where it's like they just run up to you and they're like, look at what I can do. It's just us in the yard. Chris comes out and he's like, what are you guys...
Sometimes I do get...
I'm like holding a broken wrist.
In the front yard doing cartwheels. I will sometimes get, like, excited and randomly, like, do a cartwheel in our house.
What? Where?
We have space. Like, in the, like, in between the living room and the front, like, I'll do, there's, like, that space. I do a cartwheel.
I'm picturing, earlier you said you got Mac to watch Peaky Blinders.
I'm so excited I do a cartwheel.
You were just, like, so excited.
I don't mean excited like that, like I get good news. I just meant I don't get, like, excited.
You find out you're getting a dog and you're just...
No, I do, like, a cartwheel, like, when you're just like have energy is what I meant, and I just will randomly do a cartwheel.
I have never had the inclination in my body to do a cartwheel.
Okay, I'll show you what I mean later.
Like, I
would show you now, but, like, Misty would probably lose her shit if I just randomly did a cartwheel in here.
Honestly, she'd be like, this is a normal day. Chris tries to do cartwheels every time he does Yahtzee, but it's like a sad little 32-year-old man cartwheel. You know what I mean?
Why during Yahtzee?
Because he'll win. He'll be like, Yahtzee! And then he does this face. It gets... Anyways.
Oh my god.
I shouldn't do cartwheels or backflips because I'm so clumsy. Like, picture me, I was trying to make espresso martinis earlier.
She forgot to put a cup under the spout, so it was spouting coffee.
And you just, like,
all over.
We're standing in the kitchen. We're just chatting. And you're like...
You went, oh my god.
You said, should I be doing that? And I just was like, what? And I turned around and there's coffee all over the counter.
No. You said, wait, how did that happen? And I was like, Alexa, why didn't you put something under it? It's a spout.
How would I know? I've never made it a cold coffee from the cold coffee machine. It's a nice coffee machine. It's not a regular coffee pot. Anyways, so I'm not doing cartwheels, but Benson Boone is. And it was just, like, such a hot moment. And he does it on a lot of shows. I looked at his other performances. He was on American Idol. Oh, and really? His voice is honestly...
Is that where he's famous from? Like, how is he...
I think he's famous from this song.
Okay.
Like, I think, like, this song really put him out there. But I don't actually know. But he does it in a lot of performances.
I told Alexa today, sorry. But I told her that I voted for People's Sexiest Man Alive. I went on People and, like, voted for in their categories. And I had to sign up. I had to, like, give them my email. And
you're like, they asked for your social security number and you're like, worth it?
Yeah, I'm like, I really want, like, I don't even know who's gonna... It's gonna be some... Okay, I have some real thoughts. Okay, so it wasn't for, like, Sexiest Man Alive. You know how they have the other categories? Mm-hmm. So it was, like, those categories. And I was just going to say he was in one of the categories, I think.
It still makes me mad that Blake Shelton won that one year.
Blake Shelton, also, like, McDreamy won randomly, I think, last year. I can't even remember. But it was, like, who cares? No offense. He's rigged. A very attractive man, but I'm like, he's not even relevant right now.
It's
like,
Jacob Elordi.
Yes. Okay, so he was in the category for... I wonder if it was, actually...
It's Barry Keoghan and that baseball bat he carries around.
Barry Keoghan was in one of the categories, and I can't remember which one. There was a random one for, well, you're reading Wicked, so you'll know, but Fiyero. It was like the hottest Fiyero. And it was like all of the men who have played Fiyero. I was like, what?
Is that
in
Jonathan
Wicked.
Bailey's character?
Yes, Jonathan Bailey.
Jonathan Bailey.
Nope, I voted for Aaron Tveit.
I don't know who that is.
But the original Fiyero, shout out to Norbert Leo Butz, he was not in that category, and it made me really offended for him. He's the original Fiyero.
I haven't gotten to that part. I'm still at the part where she's a baby.
Yeah, you haven't. He'll come in
30
later. He'll
pages
come in later. I think he's in the book. Anyway, so I just wanted to point that out. But I think Benson was in one of the categories, and I saw the name, and I was like, no idea who that is.
Interesting. Well, who did you vote for Sexiest Man?
Well, I don't think that was one of the categories, is what I'm saying. Unless the first category
So you did all of that.
For...
You signed up. You gave them your
There
blood
are other
type
categories.
and...
I want those I want the ones that I voted for to win those it's not just Sexiest Man Alive. It's like you open the issue and it's like a bunch of categories.
I actually have never read a People magazine except at the
so-
Hairdresser in like 2005.
Exactly. Oh, I still read them at the Hairdresser, actually. So anyway, I voted for the ones that are in those categories. Unless the first category was for Sexiest Man Alive, I couldn't actually tell, but it was 4 men and one of them was Jacob Elordi. So I voted for him, obviously.
He should win. But so back to the VMAs. So, Eminem did a performance and actually brought a tear to my eye. I forget what song it was. He did like a mashup of 3 songs, but it was like a song where he's kind of like saying like he's sorry to his daughter because he like missed all these events and like to other family members. And it had like
Haley.
Yeah, Haley. And it had like these home videos of like his family playing in the background. You could tell like he felt very emotional about it. I feel like the MTV Awards.
VMAs,
is like very Eminem coded for some reason.
It is,
like it makes me think
like
of
he's
Eminem.
been at every single. He's just timeless.
Yeah, he is. But also, so Sabrina Carpenter did a performance, and her performance was great, but Britney Spears was not a fan of her performance. There's a scene where Sabrina Carpenter like makes out with an alien, and Britney Spears went on Instagram and she was like, I do love that Sabrina girl, but like that alien thing was weird.
She would do the same thing. That's such a Britney move. What are you talking about?
Like you were draped in snakes. Like what do you mean?
Yeah, and I just think that's something Britney would do.
Yeah, it is very Britney coded. And she was like, because the thing is with the fashion this year, a lot of people like very much referenced Britney. Yeah. And she's like, it's always interesting to see people like say my name because I'm always like, oh, that's me. And she's like, I always forget that I'm famous, which is so crazy for Britney Spears, one of the most famous people in the world probably ever.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But so her performance was great, but there's a scene that really reminded me of you where it's like the last shot she's performing and it's all these astronaut men. Mm-hmm. They lift her up. It's like literally 30 men. They lift her up. She's singing. And there's this last scene where they all like look up and you see their faces and she's just like this, like on the like pile of astronaut men.
I love her so much.
I do too. And I'm like, that's just very Molly.
Oh, thank you.
Molly would love that. It's just like a bunch of like
astronaut men.
It's like Nosferatu and William Dafoe just astronauts.
Thank you.
Yes. But yeah, and so I thought, have you looked at the like fashion?
So Addison Rae, I see you have Addison Rae on there. I've looked at the fashion. Yeah. Addison Rae that was an interesting one. There was a specific one with hers that I thought was funny. It was like somebody compared it to something and now I can't remember what it was.
Tempur-Pedic pillow. So to describe her outfit, she's basically wearing, it looks like underwear. So she's wearing like a pair of high, like I guess brief underwear type things there, and then it has like a tutu attached to the back, but then she's wearing this white bra and there's like all this extra padding in it, so it comes out like in kind of like a weird misshapen way.
I didn't love that.
I didn't love it, but also it felt very VMAs. Like it felt like it was like quirky, whatever, for the VMAs.
And she kept having her like arms out, like she was presenting herself. She's like, and like it was interesting.
The thing about the VMAs is I think like, the Oscars is very like you're wearing like classic beautiful dresses. The same thing with like the Emmys. The VMAs is like, let's do something wacky and weird, and I think she did.
I thought it was unflattering to her. Like the boobs part was just unflattering.
I also know nothing about her, and that makes me feel very old. Like, who is she?
She's a TikTok star, but she's also like an actor now, so she's like in movies and stuff, and she's really marketed herself well. She also has songs, so she's kind of everything, you know what I mean? But she was featured, so I really wanted Charlie XCX to release like the version that had Addison Rae in it of Von Dutch. It was like a version of her.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, like they like she had her in the studio and it was her like doing this like a scream.
Yeah.
And I really wanted them to release it. It was so good.
Interesting.
And it would just, I don't know. She's like such a pop princess now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That. Also, speaking of Charlie XCX, I have like the Teams app on my phone. I guess I didn't realize that it was like open in my pocket, and I guess it had been typing random letters, and my autocorrect typed out Charlie XCX like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, probably because it was like, this is what she would probably be typing.
Yeah,
right
absolutely. They're like, she's talking about this a lot, and I literally was like, thank God I caught this before it sent it to 50 people in a Teams message.
Charlie XCX. Alexa just goes, hey guys, I got an idea. Charlie XCX.
So anyways, I don't have a job anymore. No, just kidding. But yeah, so I thought her outfit was interesting. Chapel Rowan's outfit, is it Chapel Rowan or Chapel Rowan?
Rowan. I mean, I think it's Rowan.
Yeah, I thought it fit her very well. Because she was going with this kind of like Joan of Arc, very like medieval theme. She had this beautiful like, it was almost like a cape coat type thing, draped around her. It's actually made out of a carpet, and she had a sword on the red carpet, but that fit with her performance later on, which I thought was good, but wasn't like a standout performance. I'm gonna be honest.
No.
But I thought hers was really good. Sabrina Carpenter looked stunning.
Amazing.
As always.
Always looks stunning.
I think it was, I don't know if she was wearing Versace, I can't remember, but she looked phenomenal. And it was a callback to a Madonna Oscars outfit from the 90s. It looked beautiful. Stunning. I'm going to be honest. I did not like Taylor Swift's outfit, and I think a lot of people have not. And I think so, I think it's maybe Dior or whatever. So basically she was wearing, it's like, it was like these black shorts, then it's like it's not high-low, but it was like almost like this draping thing that started at the waist, and it was tartan.
Yeah.
So like, like kind of like kilt colored, like it was like yellow and black, and she was wearing like a choker, and then the top was almost like not a vest,
she loves
but like
a choker right now.
Yeah, and it just felt like very not her, and very just like, I just don't think tartan is a good look on anyone unless you're like Cher and Clueless.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Her stylist, I have not liked her style in a while. Like she is really.
And I think it's because there's been a lot online where people are like, Taylor, you need to like up your style. Like you're like the biggest star in the world. Why are you wearing boring things? But then she like upped it in a way where it's like, this is A, doesn't feel true to you, and B, like it just isn't.
I don't think she has upped it. It just keeps kind of looking almost like her style has just been very like just mid 2000s or something. I don't know. Like it's not it.
I'm just curious. Like I would love to know like what drew her to that look.
I don't know, but VMA Awards, it's obviously kind of a more
experimental,
but not in like an artsy way, more just in like a kind of just flashy way.
Yeah.
Where it's like, who cares how good this looks? Just want to be flashy, kind of.
Yeah, and that's one thing I will say for Sabrina Carpenter's outfit. She looked stunning, but it also felt more like, I'm like, I wish you would save that for like the Grammys or something like that. Like, I mean, unless like, I'm sure whatever she wears at the Grammys is probably going to be like absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But I was like, it feels too fancy for the VMAs.
Yeah.
I will say. But she looked stunning. She looked great. But yeah, that's all I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
how did you feel about the awards? Like, how did you feel about who won?
Literally don't know who won anything at all. I didn't look that up. The whole award. I just was. The thing is that like when it comes to like the Grammys or things like that, I'm really watching it for the performances. It's not like the Emmys, which are tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're listening to this, the Emmys episode is actually going to be. We're doing a special Emmys episode. It'll already be out.
We're the timeline.
Yeah.
Where the timeline's a little weird. We're like Doctor Strange right now.
Yeah.
We're manipulating the timeline.
Time is a fluid concept. Or like the Oscars where I'm watching it for like the actual awards.
Yes, I will say I don't know all the winners. I keep up more with like the Emmys, whatever. Yeah. But I think so. Taylor Swift won Artist of the Year. Okay. Chapel Roan won Best New Artist.
Okay.
I think
you're looking at me for confirmation. I'm gonna let you know. I don't know who won anything.
I'm not looking at you for confirmation.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking to myself. Espresso won for Song of the Year.
As it rightly should, I think. Oh yeah, Chapel Roan. So this is the first time I've like seen her at an award show, I think, and I think she's very interesting. Like, her personality, I love Chappell Roan. Like, I will be seeing her in concert. I love all of her music. But her personality was very interesting, where she was, like, screaming at the photographers on the red carpet. And she was like, well, I just don't like when people yell at me.
Yeah, and we talked about this. I love her music. I was saying earlier to Alexa that her personality kind of surprised me when I first saw her on, like, a talk show. She's very... just kind of put out there, like she's very loud and like funny and just more. I pictured her as being kind of like weird and shy. That's sort of how I pictured her personality, and so I was surprised when she's a little bit like almost abrasive.
Yeah.
And we were talking about...
She's not afraid to be confrontational, I think, which is fine, but...
It's fine, but I was a little... And again, I am a fan of her music. I do really like her. I think she has, like, a very good... she just has this kind of pop vibe that it's just... It's almost nostalgic, but it's good. It's really good. But we were talking about that on the red carpet, her yelling at the photographers who, again, no one should be harassing anyone, but photographers are there to be yelling, like so you can hear them over all the noise, and they're just telling you where to stand, whatever. And she was like shouting and cussing them out, and to be honest, I was kind of like, you're still very much a new artist. Like, I don't know. I mean... And
she said, like, in this interview, or, like, they were interviewing her on the red carpet, and she was like, I've only been famous for, like, a month. If this is how it's going to be, then I don't, like, that's not how it's going to be, type of thing. She's like, I don't want people, like, yelling at me, which I, like, whatever.
Okay,
like, you could be I get overstimulated all the time, or whatever, but I'm also, like...
But I guess I'm thinking about myself, and if I were a new artist, new to the scene, like, I just would be... a little bit more like nervous to be, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would just be like a little more demure, a little more mindful.
She needs to be a more demure, more mindful.
Yeah.
Not really. That's not what I mean, but I guess I just was surprised by that.
Yeah.
Just, you're kind of new, just
Yeah. Yeah,
that's what photographers do. They have to get your attention and yell. I didn't hear the full thing. Maybe they were saying some offensive stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
If that's the case, not good. Yeah. But I just was like, okay, you're...
Yeah. But yeah, so I also want to get into, we're going to our movie assignments, and I'm actually very excited, but also, what did you say earlier when I was like, what? So if you haven't listened to our previous episode, I think we're doing like once a month, or I think once every 2 weeks, honestly, because we're too excited. Like we're just like giving each other a little movie assignment to watch that it's not even that we think we like, but like, that you
And the interesting thing about this is that it's very easy. Like, this is a great game for Alexa because she will literally watch anything that you put in front of her. Whereas I'm very selective. I'm more mindful. I'm more demure.
You literally texted me and I was like, should we do our movie assignments? And you were like, yes, please remember I do not like rom-coms. I'm not gonna try to torture you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm aware. I'm not gonna give you something where I'm like, she's gonna hate this, hopefully. Yeah. Yeah. What did you say earlier? You were like, you should be very scared to hear mine, and I was like, that's scared, terrifying, but okay.
Not scared.
Like, I'm just picturing you like chaining me to a chair and forcing me to watch something. But so I gave Molly a hint at mine that it's kind of fall coded.
Right, so I took that as rom-com because to me, like, there's a lot of, as far as like fall movies that I haven't seen, I can only think of rom-coms. So my guesses at first, she wanted to know my guesses. Yeah. My guess, or she may not have wanted to know. I think I just told her.
No, but this is a fun game.
My guesses were Practical Magic. Is that what it's called? With Sandra Bullock. Or, which I haven't seen.
I mean, it's not a rom-com.
I know. Or When Harry Met Sally. I think that's a fall movie.
Yes, it is very fall coded. I love the sweaters in that movie.
And I think I've seen some of it. I know that's a rom-com I'd be fine with being forced to watch because I know it's like a good movie.
It's very good. Nora Ephron films are just, the writing is very good. I'm obsessed with Nora Ephron. I want to like become her, but that's a whole other story.
I'm not sure I know who Nora Ephron is.
So she's just like she's a very famous essayist. She wrote like When Harry Met Sally. She's written like a bunch of films. She wrote
was it like Sleepless in Seattle?
Sleepless in Seattle.
Okay, then I do know.
What's the other one with the bookstore?
Sleepless.
You've Got Mail, like those kinds of things.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. Okay. But you didn't give me any hints yet, so I haven't.
Oh, should I give you a hint now?
Yeah.
Okay. It won an Oscar.
Okay, that narrows it down.
It's my hint. I'll say the hint is that the main actor in it won an Oscar. If you can't hear both. Well, maybe I should put you down.
Can I get like a decade?
Okay, I'm about to tell you. Can we
Okay.
More hints?
So my movie for you is Dead Poets Society.
Oh, you did want me to watch that.
Yeah.
That's why you asked me that one day.
Actually, that's not why I asked you that. I was like, I don't remember why I asked you, but then once you said it, I was like, well, that's your next assignment. So that I was actually surprised you didn't guess it.
I know.
What's
Okay.
mine?
Huh?
What's mine?
Yours is Joker.
Okay.
So the reason
I didn't know
why
he won an Oscar for that.
He did. People feel very mixed feelings about Joker. Just like Joker 2 seems to be. I think it got a lot of mixed reviews when it came out. People have mixed feelings about it. But I do think ultimately it is a good movie, and I think you will. I don't know how you'll feel about it, but I want you to give it a try because you said you've never seen it, which was surprising to me. Because again, you've seen a lot of things, and it's not to reiterate
the things I've seen.
Because when we've talked about it in the past, you're like, I don't like superhero movies, and to reiterate, like it is really not even a
no one ever says it is.
Yeah, it's basically like it's supposed to be like an origin story of the Joker, one of the million, but it is based on one of the comics, which is I think. I forgot what the comic is called. It's something about it, but it's basically about the Joker, his name is Arthur, being a stand-up comedian. And
I was literally about to make a joke about like stand-up comedians.
Yeah, no,
so,
but
okay.
it's like, and so it's an interesting movie. I think I'm assigning that to you because it's interesting and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Okay. And I'll watch it. And I'll provide feedback. So listen to our next episode to know what we think of these movies.
Yeah.
But okay, so on to other pop culture things. Midnight Sun.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about this. So for those who don't know, Midnight Sun is a book written by Stephanie Meyer. It was written after the Twilight.
Who's the author of Twilight if you've been living under a rock for the past 20 years. Yes.
So she wrote Midnight Sun. It's Twilight from Edward's perspective. So she when did it come out, like 2020 or something?
Yeah, I think.
I just recently read it. It took me like a year to read it. I really loved it. It just takes me a long time to read books. But I really enjoyed it because first of all, it really made me realize, and I'm going to get into why we're talking about Midnight Sun, but it really made me realize like how creepy Edward is, like truly creepy. He should not be romanticized, but I still I loved it. Like I was like,
that's what I was saying in the beginning when I was like, like obviously Matthew is not like Edward, but like people are attracted to like these romantic fantasy characters, which we've talked about this before because they're a little bit toxic, they're a little bit like. And you wouldn't want that in real life, but, like, it's a little indulgence.
He is very toxic. And the thing about Edward that, like, you forget when you're, like, you don't fully realize the extent of his creepiness from the Twilight books because, like, it's not from his perspective. It's all from Bella's perspective. But when it's from Edward's perspective, he reads people's thoughts. So he's sitting there, he's reading not only, well, he can't read Bella's thoughts, but he's reading people's thoughts and he's like, it's just so creepy. Like, it really is. But anyway, they are coming out with a show about Midnight Sun, but it's an animated adaptation.
Okay. Two things. One,
it's a Netflix animated adaptation.
The creepiness of Edward, and I might have said this before, but like I think Twilight really I was obsessed with Twilight. I think it really influenced the way
we are Twilight girlies, to be clear, if we haven't already talked about that.
I think it has influenced the way for a long time that I viewed romantic relationships because when I read Twilight for a long time, the way I would fall asleep is I would pretend that whoever my crush was at the time had like snuck into my window and was watching me while I slept.
I used to picture my crushes as the Phantom of the Opera, so don't worry about it.
But like I think about like every night, probably for like 7 years. And I think about that now. I can't imagine imagine if you woke up and Matthew's just standing over you.
It's so terrifying.
I just spit so much. If Chris was just watching me sleep, mouth open, my drool.
And it's worse. So again, in Midnight Sun, he's like watching, because she doesn't know this in Twilight, so we're only knowing this from Midnight Sun. He watches her from a tree. Like, he sits in a tree and, like, watches her through her room. So, yes, he will sneak into her room, but, like, at one point she's laying in her backyard and he's literally watching her from a tree and she's dreaming about him, so she's, like, talking out loud. How humiliating.
Humiliating. Awful. But, so it's going to be an animated thing. Okay, I was trying to... Why is it animated? I was trying to find fan reactions to it being animated, and all these news articles, all I could find were positive fan reactions where they're like, I'm sad, I'm going to watch it. I don't want a fucking animated show. I'm fine with... Sorry, I'm on a rant. I'm fine with animation.
Yeah.
I like Studio Ghibli. I love the stuff. I love Bob's Burgers, whatever. This is not animated.
What style do you think it'll be?
Stupid.
But seriously, what if it's like the Big Mouth style? Like, what animated style do you think it'll be? Because I can't picture I'm wondering if they're doing animated to make it less creepy. Do you know what I mean? Like, to make it less like toxic romance, where it's like if it's not a person, then it's less weird.
I wonder if animated things are cheaper to make. I would imagine they are, because you don't have to like have.
Oh, really? I would think they're very expensive to make. But they take years too.
Picturing when you said what style, it's like SpongeBob when he draws like the what is it, the Mihoi, like that's the style I want to see it in.
Okay, yeah. I want to see Big Mouth style now.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
With his little vampire teeth, just like huge.
Seriously, I wonder what it'll look like.
I don't know. Stephanie Meyer, she's the executive producer with her. She has, I guess, a production company called Fickle Fish Films.
Of course. Another Mormon. Hey, we're on the Mormon.
Yeah, I mean the original like Mormon star, besides I guess Joseph Smith, probably.
Have we talked about this before too? You brought up an interesting point one time where it's like the reason why Twilight is so like romantic but not really sexy, like it doesn't really go there, and it's almost like, you know, it was written by like a high school student, is because Stephanie Meyer is Mormon, so it's like it's just not ever gonna be raunchy.
No, and it's the same thing. So this is like, okay, this is about to go like into a weird like sexual thing, but also like with the Real Housewives, or not the Real Housewives, the Mormon wives, there's this whole scene where they allude to like, oh my god, I can't believe this girl did this with her husband, and it's like this Fruity Pebbles joke, and I like looked it up. What they're talking about is, I guess, her and her husband, he went down on her and he made some reference that he said like, oh, like it tastes like Fruity Pebbles or whatever. I'm not kidding. The wives are freaking out about this. It's her husband. And also, like, it's like they've never heard of this concept. Like, they make this whole joke where, like, Whitney, the one girl, like, she presents the girl with a present, and it's a box of Fruity Pebbles, and they're giggling. She thinks it's the funniest thing ever. They're like, oh, like, they're whispering it to each other, like, because one of them wasn't there when the story was told, and they're like, wait, what happened? And she's like, I'll tell you, and she's whispering it, and then she's like, like, it's like this craziest thing. It's like, and I'm just like, okay, so they're just doing sex stuff. And it's the same thing with Twilight, where it's just like the whole thing where he's like, I can't have sex with you unless we're married. And it's like, I don't know, you're
170 years old.
Yeah, you're a billion years old, like, get some, okay? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But anyways, sorry, it just really pissed me off.
Instead, they wait until, I think they get married, like, the day after they graduate or something. Like,
and people always like, okay, so Anna Kendrick's character, what's her name in that?
I love Jessica.
They always act like she's a bitch, but she's like,
no, she's just real.
Yeah, she's like, what do you mean you're getting married? You're 18. Or when Bella like goes into
Edward hates Jessica. He loves, so the can I just say
a hallmark of a toxic relationship.
Hating where it's like a friend. Who's like, who's kind of like, hey, because now she's like she's only hanging out with him, spending time with him, and she's kind of like not hanging out with her friends anymore, and they're like Bella. So the thing that I thought about with Midnight Sun that they talk about is like, so not Jessica but the other friend, I can't remember her name,
the one who wears glasses,
the one who wears glasses,
also very hot.
Yes. So she is like, in the book, she's very nice. She always has very nice thoughts about Bella.
Yeah.
Because Edward's like listening to her thoughts. And so he's like, he's reading her thoughts, and he's like, she's nice to Bella. Like, I love how she's, what?
Angela. Her name's Angela.
I was going to say Andrea. Angela. He's always like, she's thinking nice thoughts about Bella, so I'm going to do something nice for her. And Angela has like a crush on a guy, so he sets the two of them up, like, kind of like plays matchmaker. And it's supposed to be this like, like, oh, Edward's so like nice or whatever. Like, look at Edward being like a good guy. And it's like, he's reading her thoughts, and he's like, because she had nice thoughts about Bella, he's like basically rewarding her. Like, it's so creepy. It's so weird.
All their relationships are so weird.
Love him,
and it's like,
I love him.
It's like only a Mormon could write this. You know what I mean? Like, but the thing is, I gotta give it to her
I know.
because I'm
like,
obsessed.
I'm reading.
I'm obsessed. And I think it's like, so again, not to bring it back to A Court of Thorns and Roses, but like that's like the romantasy genre that's really popular right now. And basically it's like the same kind of tropes appear in that in that book that appear in Twilight, where it's like the guy who's like been obsessed with her longer than she realizes, and she's like a human turned into like fairy or whatever. And it sounds ridiculous, but it also is like, okay, so this goes into another topic that I wanted to bring up, and we can still talk about Midnight Sun, but the romantasy genre is really just holding the publishing industry, like, it is the only thing propping it up. And so much so the person who wrote A Court of Thorns and Roses, her name is Sarah J. Moss, whatever. So I think it's Bloomsbury is her publisher, and they had to send out a notice to I think it's like their investors and like their employers, basically because she doesn't have a book coming out in 2025 being like, the profits we've made this past year, not the same. They're not going to be like the same as the profits, like it's like record number of profits. And that's why I'm here to say, make content for women, because women, what is it, bitches be shopping, okay? I'm going to be spending money on that. And, like, I think, like, for a long time, we weren't making this content for women. And then when we do, it comes out and people make fun of it. And, like, people made fun of Twilight.
I know.
People make fun of A Court of Thorns and Roses. But you know what? No one's out here making fun of, like, fantasy football leagues that are taking up your entire life.
Are people making fun of A Court of Thorns and Roses? Because I feel like people are...
I think if it had come out at the same time that Twilight had come out, it would have gotten the same level of hate as Twilight. Yeah. Absolutely. And people always say they're like, Stephenie Meyer's like a horrible writer. I mean, I haven't read the book in a long time, but I don't remember it being that
awful. Not horribly written. She's not the best writer I've ever read. But now Colleen Hoover... a horrible writer in my opinion.
Yeah,
like some
great.
of the things that she writes, because again, I don't read her books, but like we've talked about this in the past, but I'll see like, you know, things of just screenshots of like stuff she's written, and it's like atrocious.
Yeah.
But Stephenie Meyer is she's not the best writer, but she's fine. Like, she's not terrible. It impacts me, and I'll go back to like, okay, I don't mean to. People are impacted by Colleen Hoover's writing. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm impacted by Stephenie Meyer's writing. I love her books.
I'm here to say Twilight is my Roman Empire. I think about Twilight at least like,
maybe
if not
Dance
once,
Moms is mine, but
if not once a day, like once a week. Like I think about it constantly. And I was listening to this TikTok that was like about a person interviewed for like a New York Times article where she was like, why is it that women are loving these books or these shows where it's like these huge age gaps where it's like the man is like 120 or 500 years old and she's like 18? And it's because women want, because it's like, okay, well, he's fully emotionally matured.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's hot.
Yeah.
That is what I want. Meanwhile, men are like, oh, let's get like a video game character who has triangles for tits. You know? Whereas I'm like, oh, what are his emotions? What does he
I know.
feel?
I'm like,
he
he's so possessive. Like,
yeah. Those are so much. And also there's something very hot about a man that can protect you.
Exactly.
You know?
But again, creepy.
Yeah.
Though.
Creepy. Like in the same, like,
because what does he
if
want
I
with
watched Chris
with a
fight someone over me, I would be like, this is weird. And I would be like, first of all, he would never.
My favorite scene is from Eclipse when they're in the tent.
That is my favorite scene in all of literature. And
Thank you.
Like it is like I read that as a teenager and I was like, this is peak love.
Yeah, this is peak writing.
This is romance.
No, actually, like them in the tent, she's having to cuddle because Edward's cold and they're in the why are they in the mountains? I guess they're hiding. I can't remember why they're up there.
People are attacking
winter,
them as always,
cold, snow. So Jacob's warm. So he's like, he has a shirt off. He's like keeping her warm.
Because otherwise, like,
but
she's gonna die
asleep.
of cold.
She's asleep, and so Jacob and Edward are arguing over their love for her, and they're like fighting over her, and it's like they're having this conversation in the tent, and Edward's like so pissed because like she's cuddled up with Jacob, and he wants to be able to keep her warm, but he can't because he's ice cold. It is so hot. It is so hot.
Yes, it is hot because basically my dream is having two men compliment me for an hour. You know what I mean?
Like, but is it a compliment? To play devil's advocate, is it complimenting or is it more just like they own her? You know what I mean?
Yeah, to be fair, they're
not
like
really complimenting her.
Two men to be obsessed with me for an hour and to like hear that.
There we go.
Like that is the ideal. That is peak. I want a man to be obsessed with me, but not actually, because I also don't want a man to be obsessed with me. That would be like too much.
Exactly. So back to Midnight Sun though, as an animated show. No, I just want to say, like, I'm just still like, I'm so curious to see how this is going to be done. Who are going to play them?
I think so. I also saw that I think HBO was like maybe considering remaking Twilight, like the series.
I don't
as,
want
like,
that. I don't want
I
it.
do, because I'm not a fan of the movies. I hate the movies. I love Kristen Stewart as an actress now. We've had this discussion so many times. I think in those movies she's horrible. I think they're all horrible. I think it's just...
Of course it is. Of course it is, but it's so good. Twilight, okay, unapologetically, Twilight is probably one of my favorite movies. I'm not joking. It is... No, Alexa, think about it. It's a little indie movie. Like, it is... The music from it...
Yeah.
It is... Okay, it gets bad later. I think they got... Catherine Hardwicke directed the first movie. She did a phenomenal job. I genuinely believe that.
Director.
It is like the filter, the tone, it is the perfect...
Honestly,
it's
the best...
Hoa season.
The best fall music.
It is
That's the
so
fall movie.
good. It's genuinely so good. Alexa's
sure
measuring our wine.
I want
right
us to have the same amount of wine so we're on the same level. Okay, we're good.
Are you sure that's mine?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, I think the first movie's legitimately good. I'm not even joking. I'm not being ironic.
I just think Kristen
But then it
Stewart
gets
is not a
bad.
good
I
actress.
think they for some reason decided to go in a different direction.
There's a whole, again, that What Went Wrong podcast. They have a whole 2-parter on Twilight.
They messed up because imagine if Catherine Hardwicke had done that whole series. Like, it would have been so much better.
But so they were like, there was this thing going around. I don't even know how true it is, but it was like they were thinking about remaking Twilight as like a series on HBO or whatever.
Yeah.
I would be watching that. I'm
No.
like, but also like, how soon is too soon to make remakes? Because here's the thing. I think about
too soon. Harry Potter they were trying to do too. I think
they
that's
are.
too soon.
They are doing that.
And
I
that's
think it's
too soon.
But so okay, remember when we watched Pride and Prejudice? So remember there's like the original one that's like in the 1990s with Colin Farrell. Colin Firth, right? And everyone was like it was not as big as like Twilight or whatever. Everyone's like whatever. Less than 10 years later came out with the Keira Knightley version.
But I can't connect with that because I've never seen the Colin
But
Firth
do you know
version.
what I mean? Like, it's like, how soon is too soon? So like for us, we're like, it's too soon, but maybe for like a Gen Z or like what's Gen Alpha or whatever the next one is, that would be like their first real encounter with it.
I just don't see it. First of all, Harry Potter, you're telling me that somebody can be better than those movies. And I don't even like Harry Potter. I'm saying that right now, sorry. But I'm not a fan. I can't imagine anyone else playing all those characters, though.
But is it because that's what we grew up with? Like, so the thing is, let's say, like,
it's going to fail. It's going to fail.
There's a kid right now who's 10 years old who's never seen Harry Potter. His first Harry Potter is whatever's the new remake.
He has seen Harry Potter.
Chris hasn't. Or, like, he never finished it or
right,
something. But you know what I mean?
But
like,
would he watch a new Harry Potter? Probably not.
No. But, I mean...
I wouldn't either.
But you guys aren't Harry Potter. Like, I would watch a new Harry Potter.
So wild to me. Like, I can't imagine another person playing Edward, I guess. Put it like that. Like, I cannot...
I don't think he was a good Edward because I think he, A, didn't like Edward, and B, like, I think...
Of course he didn't, but it's still so good. It doesn't mean it's not good.
I just think...
You're killing me.
It's not his hottest role.
I think he could have been hotter in it. You're putting a knife through my heart right now.
I think he is very hot. I need to preface this before you, like, jump over this desk. I think he's very hot. I just don't think he's hot as Edward.
Oh, I do. Okay, so I think that is my, like, movie unpopular we should do movie unpopular opinions. Like, my movie unpopular opinion is that I think Twilight's a legitimately good movie.
I think both of ours is that Rat Race is one of the funniest movies of all time.
Rat Race is the funniest movie of all time.
I literally told Chris, I was like, yeah, have you seen Rat Race? And he was like, that stupid movie. And I was like,
what?
I told you,
yeah. No, it's so good. It's so good. Funny.
It's
I watched it last night again.
You
fell asleep to it.
You have, like, you know how ADD has, like, the hyperfixation thing?
I have
like,
hyperfixations.
I have hyperfixations, but you have only hyperfixations for, like, movies or TV
Yeah,
shows.
that's true. It's not for people.
Mine is for everything in this world. Like, I get hyperfixated and then I'm done.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I do have hyperfixations on, like, other things.
Should we, message us if you've made it to this. We're at an hour 48. If you've made it this far in the podcast, message us. Should we reread the Twilight series?
That's not fair. I just read Midnight Sun. I'm not rereading the Twilight series. Hell no.
You don't think it'd be fun?
Ugh, that's so much. I didn't even really enjoy Breaking Dawn that much.
Really? I feel like every time I could read a Twilight book in probably 3 days. Like, again, the same way with The Court of Thorns and Roses, where I was like putting my life on hold to finish these books.
Okay.
Never
I'll
mind. We won't
consider
force.
it.
We won't
Okay,
force
we'll
it.
ask. No, we'll ask. We'll ask.
Yeah.
People, and if they, I hope everybody says no, because I don't want to. I really don't want. I'm not interested in rereading all the Twilight books right now. I just
at least the first one. Let's do that.
But I just read
Sun.
Midnight Sun.
I haven't read it, so I'll read Midnight Sun.
You read Midnight Sun,
and you read Twilight.
But I've read Twilight a million times.
Okay, never mind.
You read Midnight Sun. Should Alexa read Midnight Sun?
This is a cheerocracy.
And I'm Torrance.
Yeah. But anyway, so I don't even know what we meant to say about Midnight Sun, but that it's going to be an animated show, and that pisses me off.
Thoughts, yeah.
I think because they were also thinking about, like, for A Court of Thorns and Roses originally, like a animated series too. And I'm not kidding. The way that I would go to the studio headquarters and I would burn it down. Like, I would be
what would you rather? Okay, wait.
I'm not going to protest, like I have protested things in my life before.
Okay, she's not going to actually go burn it down.
The way I would chain myself to a tree.
Okay, yeah,
let's
say that.
With the poster, and I would be like, no animation.
Yeah.
No, I want real
What would
hotties.
you rather have? Okay, what would be worse? An animated version of A Court of Thorns and Roses or Joey King in A Court of Thorns and Roses? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Good question, right?
I don't know. I think Joey King in A Court of Thorns and Roses.
That's worse, or you'd rather have that?
I think that's worse. I don't think. And so The Uglies came out yesterday. I'm going to be watching it, and I'm going to be angry the whole time. The whole time I'm going to be angry. And I want you to know, if I ever meet you,
change your mind about her. You never know.
If you ever listen to this, which you probably won't, and if I meet you, I don't hate you, Joey King. I just hate you as an actress. I just don't want to see you in the things that are really close to my heart, because I think there's certain roles for you and those aren't them.
I feel bad for her, because imagine, like, so many people.
Nice person.
Yeah, but people, like, their main like thing about her is, like, I hate her face. Like, that's what everybody says. And I'm like, imagine just, like, a globe full of people just being like, I hate her face. Like, imagine.
Which is
how
why
she
you'll never
feels.
see mine. Just kidding.
What?
I'm just kidding. It's already been on there. It's already been on the internet. That would suck, but also she makes a lot of money, and it doesn't seem to be holding her back at all.
I know. Yeah, you're right. She's still getting hired for things.
She's got an angel on her shoulder.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be worse. I would rather see an animated version than. But I'm just like, why are we making animated versions? I think we're trying to make animated versions of these things that are like fantasy, whatever, because it is expensive to make a real
I guess
fantasy.
now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably just easier to do that, and they can, like, get whatever voices they get, and it doesn't matter who's playing them. Maybe that's why they're doing it.
But don't take the easy route.
Wait, maybe that's why they're doing an animated version. Now it's kind of being clear. It's like becoming clear to me why they're making an animated version of Midnight Sun is because they're like, okay, well, no one's going to replace Robert Pattinson, but if we just do a voice and not really like a face, a human being,
Replace him.
Easier. No.
Replace.
God.
Who do you think? Okay, because he's obviously too old right now. Gun to your head, you have to choose someone to play him. Who would it be?
Jacob Elordi. That's the only thing I could think of.
But yeah, I think he would be good as a wolf.
No. I
He's
disagree.
got, like,
He's about to play Frankenstein.
That's true.
Oh, he's very skinny right now, by the way. Very skinny.
Interesting. I don't know who would play, but I want to put this out there. I was thinking about who would play. His name is Rhysand in A Court of Thorns and Roses. And this is really just for Hannah if she's still listening. And it's the guy who plays the British boyfriend on Emily in Paris would be good. I think he would be phenomenal in it. Because I think it's good when you have more, like, he's not unknown, but, like...
No, I was going to say that for Midnight Sun, I think it'd be somebody unknown. Yeah. Like, it'd be an unknown cast. And they're not going to hire, like, Andrew Garfield or something, you know?
Yeah. You know what would be interesting is, like, that boy from...
That boy.
What's it called?
The Holdovers.
But, like, him, but, like, hotter.
Oh, he's so hot, though.
Yeah, he is hot.
He's
Benson Boone. Like, if him and Benson Boone were put together...
Can Benson Boone act?
I don't know. I don't know anything about him besides
I meant
the
to say
backflips.
about Benson Boone, the other thing I was going to say was that he's wearing such a, like, Harry Styles-esque outfit.
Yeah, his outfit I actually really liked. I would wear that outfit.
It just reminded me of Harry Styles.
And I kind of like that we're in this era of fashion where, like, men are wearing more feminine things sometimes and just, like, having fun with it. Like, I'm tired of seeing on the red carpet, it's just like I'm wearing a black suit. Be fun.
I know.
Like women don't have to be the only ones who have fun with their outfits.
Jacob Elordi, like, carries purses.
I love that. He's fashion forward.
Yeah.
He is great. But anyway, so we've been talking about this for so long. I just want to really quickly say, first of all, we talked about Lady Jane Grey and My Lady Jane. That show got canceled, and people are very upset about it. And there's a petition going around to bring it back. I think like it will come back because a lot of people are very upset, but I think another network's probably going to pick it up.
Okay. That sometimes happens.
Yeah, but I just want to say it's very upsetting, and it's interesting because like a show can have like a huge fan base and still get canceled, and I don't understand.
Okay, so there's a show on Max. I think you watched some of it. It was Our Flag Means Death.
Yeah.
And Taika Waititi created the show. It's like it was very popular, huge following. It was very like it had, you know, LGBTQ characters. A lot of people connected with the characters and the whole just show. It got canceled by Max, and people are distraught because it has a huge fandom.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It's a big
people
show.
in the fandom are literally like, I've never seen anything like it. It's almost a little worrying to me that people are that obsessed with a show that they're like, it is their life. But
yeah.
I'm not going to judge it too much because it's just maybe it's their safe space. Like that's understandable. That's fine. But it is like it's wild how much they are literally like picketing for, is that a word? Picketing?
Yeah.
For it to be picked up by another streamer.
It's wild, but I also get it because I am someone like when I am really invested in a show, I'm like, this becomes my whole life. I'm going to start dressing like the characters in the show. I'm going to start like pretending that my life is them. I'm going to stop associating anything in my life as like I'm going to become
that's
a
the
part
idea
of this
I'm getting
series.
with them.
And I'm a psycho like that. And so like I get it. And I think, like, these network executives, they're really just playing with people's emotions.
They totally are, because the thing is, I was a little... honestly, it seemed like it ended with season 2, so I was a little surprised that people were so upset. To me, it just, like, felt like it ended with season 2. And I think shows shouldn't go on for too long. But what I was going to say was... What?
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I'm, like, holding my finger up like a wizard. I'm just... If you're going to cancel a show... Put something out just saying how it was supposed to end.
It ended to me. To me, it had an ending.
Okay, well,
I'm a fan of the show. I do like the show a lot. I was not distraught when it was canceled. I was like, yeah, I didn't. I thought they wrapped it up, honestly. Okay. And I know you didn't. I don't think you finished. Yeah, you didn't finish the show, but
I liked it. I did really like it.
It's good. It's a well-written show. It's good, but. The fan base, the fans were very upset that it got canceled, and they want it to be picked up by like Apple. I think Apple rejected it, whatever. It never gets nominations. So the way that they talk about it, though, it's like the reason I said it was a little concerning is because people are just like, guys, like, we're gonna be okay. Like, I know people are like, it's just like very much like. I'm like, it's a TV show. But at the same time, I understand. Like I said, I think it's a safe space for people because it was a very inclusive show. Very, like, just a very open...
Well, it's the same thing like A League of Their Own. They did a show of it on Prime, and it got canceled. And that was, like, a very, like, LGBTQ-friendly show. And it was phenomenal. I loved it, and it got canceled. That was a show where it's, like, it was kind of left... I don't know I can't remember now if it was, like, a cliffhanger, but it was, like, very clearly, like, a season 2. And I want to say that. I want to say The Chair with Sandra Oh got canceled, and that was a phenomenal show. It got amazing reviews. Lucky Hank with... Bob Odenkirk.
Yes, I wanted to watch that.
And that was a really great show. And I'm just like, why are, like...
Because AMC, Better Call Saul was probably the last, like, AMC show that really got, like... Really got, like, promoted and whatever. But I think AMC does not do a good job of promoting their shows anymore.
No. And... I don't know. And so that also brings me to, like, one of the topics on here. So Handmaid's Tale, I know you haven't seen it. I am very invested. I love Handmaid's Tale. It is, like...
Hasn't that been on for, like, 8 years
It
now?
has. And they take so much time.
Yeah.
I want to say it's been, like, 2 or 3 years since the last season. But so it got renewed for a 6th and final season. I'm kind of excited to see it end, I'll be honest, just because I'm curious how they're going to end it. But I think it's like the show, honestly, that like maybe put Hulu on the map. Like I got Hulu to watch Handmaid's Tale. I know a lot of people that did that.
I would agree with that.
And I really want you to watch it. Also,
I've tried it. I cannot watch that show.
If you're gonna recommend it to people, it has to be at the right time, because Chris always tells the story of like, I'm bad at recommending, like, forcing people to watch things at the wrong time. I remember we went out on a Friday night, we were having a great time, we came back and Chris was like, let's watch something, like, we can watch something new. And I have to really take the opportunities with him to, like, introduce something new, because he rarely is like, let's watch something new. Yeah. And I was like, how about Handmaid's Tale? I'm not kidding. kidding. I hit play. There's smiles on our faces. We're like a little tipsy. We're cheery. They're stoning people to death.
It is dark show.
It is so, and I forgot how dark it is. And like, I'm not kidding. The episode, like, it fades to black. Chris gets up and he just goes, I'm going to go to bed.
Oh.
And he never watched another episode. Like, it is
so dark, and I know you're dark. Like, you should watch it. Believe me, I've given it a try. Yeah. It's not, I can't.
But I think it's a phenomenal show in that I think it really portrays like this future, like slightly like parallel society where it's like you can see our society, like how they would get to this point. Like the similarities are so scary. Elizabeth Moss does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I think that I know the acting and the writing is very good. I'm not saying it's not. I just like personally I'm like I can't sit through that. Like that's just it's so dark, and I love dark things, but I'm like that's too close to this real society. I just can't even.
And here's a question that I really want to put out to the internet because I've been trying to figure this out. Mm-hmm. So my friend asked me like, whenever Chris and I get married, they were like, what color would you do for, like, bridesmaid dresses?
What are you going to say, Handmaid's Tale dresses?
I was like, this sounds bad, but the color of dress that the handmaids, or that the wives wear in the Handmaid's Tale
The red?
No, it's like a blue-green. Okay. It's like the wives wear.
I was going to say, Alexa, I am cutting that down now.
Cannot, it is my favorite shade of, like, blue. Hang on, let me pull it up, and I cannot figure out what blue it is. So sometimes it'll look like this. This is the color that I want.
That is pretty. It's like a forest green.
It's like a green, but sometimes it's like a blue. It's like, depending on the way the light hits it, it's like a green blue. And I'm like,
why don't you just type into Google what color is?
Girl, I've tried it so many times, and all it tells me is the wives wear blue to represent the color of Mary.
Okay, well,
and I'm like, what blue? Is it cerulean? Is it turquoise? What is this? What is this color?
I mean, you could always take it to a place and just be like, what color is this?
I'm just like picturing myself walking into a place, showing a woman the wife from The Handmaid's Tale, just being like, I want this for bridesmaid.
They scare me, honestly. Like the handmaids, they're those things on their head.
Yeah, okay. I was in a wedding where we wore, like, basically Handmaid's Tale's dresses, and the bride walked out of the room, and one of the bridesmaids was like, do you guys feel like we're in the Handmaid's Tale? It was a, like, velvet dress. It was so heavy it broke the hanger. Yeah, but also, like, the white over their faces, it's very haunting. And there's Alexa will know this, but there's sometimes a protester that stands outside the courthouse. There's a few of them, dressed as Handmaid's Tale. Dressed as Handmaid's Tale. They're making a statement, and I'm all for it, but it is actually terrifying. Remember when Kylie Jenner... It's gonna cause a car accident because it scares the shit out of me. Remember when Kylie Jenner did a Handmaid's Tale themed birthday party or something? Oh no, no! But I remember Melania Trump did like Handmaid's Tale Christmas trees. Do you remember that? Wait! No, this is worse because I can't believe this has not crossed your desk. That Kylie Jenner, her and her friends love Handmaid's Tale. What? So they all it was like they dressed up as like handmaids or the wives or whatever. And they did it where they were like, they posted it to social media and they'd be like, blessed be the fruit and under his eye. Oh, she faced backlash for it. Don't worry. Absolutely. And it was like her, like, not servants, but like people that work there were dressed up as like... Servants! Like they were like dressed up as like the Marthas and stuff. And people were like, you are not really understanding this show. Like, that is actually absurd. Somebody posted, okay, for anyone who's ever seen the meme of, like, she's so crazy, and it's, like, the girl that just, like, has, like, a thing on her head at the grocery store. Well, it's just, like, the same vibe. Somebody posted, I guess whoever was at her party, posted a picture of her, and they said, I swear I love her, at Kylie Jenner, and it's a picture of Kylie dressed in the Handmaid's Tale outfit. Like, and they said, but they put laughy face, I swear I love her. Kylie Jenner, you never fail to amaze me. What do you mean? That's so crazy to me. It's so offensive. Like, imagine I invite, like, you get a, like, text from me, like, hey, I'm having a party on Friday. The tale is Handmaid's Tale, or the theme is Handmaid's Tale. It's so weird. Sophia Richie was dressed. Why did they do this? You know the author reacted to it. Agatha Christie, Jesus. Margaret Atwood. And that is also one of those we talked about in last episode, books that are movies that are better than books. I think the show is better than the book. Bradley Whitford slams. Bradley Whitford will come for anybody. Who is that? He's an actor. He's from, like, The West Wing. So yeah, like, just imagine, like, you asked me one time, like, what would end our friendship? And this wouldn't end our friendship, but if Did I ask that? Remember we were talking about, like, people being canceled? Oh, yeah. And this wouldn't end our friendship, but if you were like, I'm having a Handmaid's Tale party, I think we would have to be like, I'd be like, well, let's have a sit down. And let's have a talk. Yeah. Like, that's just not a good look. That's just not.
Would it end our friendship, or would you just have a talk with me?
I think it wouldn't end our friendship, but I also would kind of be like, it's kind of wild.
Yeah, okay,
like, it's not the person I thought it was.
Believe me, I know you'd have a talk with me, I think.
I would just be like, I would get that text, and then you'd get immediately a call from me.
The good news is I don't care about Handmaid's Tale, so.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, what else did you want to talk about this week?
Well, I just want to quickly talk about Dancing with the Stars, the new season. I don't want to talk about it for that long because it hasn't come out yet, I don't think, but the cast announcement is interesting. Probably the most interesting cast announcement of that cast is Anna Delvey.
Yeah.
Who, if you don't know, she's the German heiress who is she German or is she Russian?
Nobody really knows.
Being a German heiress, basically.
Yeah.
Something. She has that wild accent.
Yeah.
She was arrested for
just
fraud and just scamming people.
Like, millions of dollars.
And the thing is, it reminds me of how people are with like Gypsy Rose Blanchard, yeah. Where it's like people kind of are now like, you go girl, like, and making a celebrity out of her. And I'm like, guys, she's a criminal. Like, she's actually, I watched Inventing Anna, which the acting was really good, from her, not from everybody, but I think the show is interesting, but I also think she's not a good person.
No.
I've seen her in interviews. I think she's still a fraud.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that she is going to be on Dancing with the Stars. She literally still has an ankle monitor.
Yeah. Can I be honest about something? This is like a really big blind side in my like pop culture knowledge. And this is embarrassing to admit to the entire internet. I don't know anything about Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Oh.
And I see her pop up on my feed all the time. Everyone seems to know about her. I'm like, when did this happen? Like, who is this person? What's going?
When did this happen? I'm not sure the exact year, but Gypsy Rose Blanchard is her mother was Dee Dee Blanchard. Her mother basically had Munchausen by proxy. Mm-hmm. Is that how you pronounce it?
Munchausen, I think.
Munchausen by proxy. She pretended like Gypsy had cancer. She would take her to all these places. She, would do like Make-A-Wish. She didn't have anything wrong with her. Nothing was wrong with her. She pretended she had all these illnesses. She was very abusive towards her.
Okay.
No doubt about that. Very abusive towards her. It was actually really awful and sad. She raised her. Gypsy was probably like, a teenager, but she looked like she was like 10. She shaved her head to make her look like she was going through chemo. She had her in a wheelchair. She would dress her up in princess outfits, like take her to Disney. It was really creepy. Very, very disturbing stuff. Like her mom was very possessive of her. But basically at one point, Gypsy Rose met a guy who in secret, she ended up falling in love with this guy. They were kind of dating in secret. Her mom didn't know about it. And they would text each other, and they killed her mom. So they like conspired to kill her mom. The guy killed her, but Gypsy was part of them.
This sounds like a perfect plot for Ryan Murphy.
Well, it was made into a Hulu show, and Joey King played her.
Okay, I was about to say that sounds like the Joey King show, but I didn't know like.
Yeah. Again, she went through like complete mental, physical abuse from her mom, basically. I don't know, physical abuse, but like mental abuse from her mom.
Well, if her mom is like making her sick.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so they brutally murdered her. It was awful. The guy is still in prison. I think prison for life.
I know this is an inappropriate question, but brutal, like how? Like how was she murdered?
They stabbed her. Like there's pictures of it, like of her in bed. Like they stabbed her. Gypsy went to prison, I want to say for like about 7 years, maybe.
Wow. Okay.
And she's out now. And as soon as she got out, Lifetime series, she became really big on TikTok. Now she's like very online, very like internet famous, because people were kind of like, honestly, and I felt this way too. I felt so sorry for her because she did conspire to kill her mom, but she was very like, she was abused by her mom. So it was really, really awful what she had to go through. And so imagine like being in the prison of like, your mom's house, her mother's house, and then having to go to prison. Yeah. But, however, she's really, like, she ended up having, like I said, she had a Lifetime show. She was marrying this other guy. They immediately got divorced. Like, they got together, split up. I think they got married. I don't know. His name was Ryan. But it was just like really weird. She's very like, they're just making her into a celebrity. She was being interviewed by like E.T. and just, it was like weird.
Here's the thing. Okay,
let her
now
heal.
With that
she
context,
needs to heal. Oh, and now she's pregnant, by the way.
With that context, like, okay, interesting, because I see people hate on her, but also like you can't. I feel like you can't judge someone for how they come out of that situation, because it's like that's like a very difficult. Like, that's a very unique, difficult situation. But also, like, of course she's going to be like, let's do a Lifetime movie. Or I don't even know if she agreed to it. Or, like, I'm going to do these interviews. What else is she going to do?
I'm surprised she's
like,
on Dancing
what
with
is she
the
going to
Stars,
go
actually.
on Indeed and be like, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, hire me? You know what I mean?
No, I mean, that's a good point. You're right. Because, like, where do you go from there? But I do think there's just, and she's a product of what people are making her out to be, because again, people are like, she's this, like, justice for her, because it was sad that she had to go to prison for that, you know, where it's like, yes, she would, but at the same time, it was like this awful thing, and it just seems, there's just seems something weird about it that she's like being hailed as like a celebrity, I guess, is what I mean.
But I mean, that's very much like, we talked about this in the last episode, or maybe we didn't, maybe we talked about it in person, but that's very much like, I think, our culture, where we see these like dark things, like, we love murder, we love trauma and torture and whatever, and we turn those people into celebrities.
And we shouldn't, though.
We shouldn't.
Like, that's not a
be...
good thing. So I guess that's what I mean, is like, it's just, it seems very weird.
Yeah.
And so, where was I going with that? Oh, so anyway, Anna Delvey is kind of similar. I'm surprised. I was gonna say, I'm surprised Gypsy Rose isn't on Dancing with the Stars. She would actually be like really relevant for that. Anna Delvey seems a little like so 2022 or whatever. Just kidding. But she literally still has the ankle monitor on.
That's crazy. Have you ever seen they do Dancing with the Williamsburg Stars? For anyone who doesn't know, we live in Williamsburg, Virginia. I have been trying to convince Chris to do that. I think he would be phenomenal.
He would probably win.
But they do, like, one of our friends do. They like, it's very intense. Like, you have to train for it. Like, the same thing with like Dancing with the Stars. It's crazy.
Yeah. So yes, Anna Delvey is on it.
Why is Dancing with the Stars still relevant? I feel like if you go
I don't
on
care
Dancing
about
with
it
the
at
Stars,
all.
your like career, your like
that's
it's
what
over.
I was gonna say. So I think it's like very embarrassing to be on Dancing with the Stars. I'm gonna be honest, unless you're an athlete.
Yeah.
Because there's a few like genres of people. I don't know if that makes sense. Genres of celebrities on Dancing with the Stars. Mm-hmm. It's like usually like an Olympic athlete. So Pommel Horse guy is on there. This season, the pommel horse guy, the one with the glasses, he would like sleep until he was ready to the Olympics. Pommel horse. Okay, we talked about him. Oh, he's the one who would. It was like that was his only thing was to do the pommel horse. Okay, and he would be like asleep, and then he would like. And I mean that's funny. Somebody else, I can't remember now who was somebody else from the Olympics. But then you've got somebody like Eric Roberts, who I don't know if you know who he is, but he's Emma Roberts' dad. He's Julia Roberts' brother.
Why is he on there?
Well, he's a very famous actor. I mean, he's been in so many things.
Hang on, I'm gonna look him up.
You've definitely seen him and stuff. Like he's very
oh my god, that's Emma Roberts' dad?
Actor. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So I'm like kind of disturbed, but I've heard he'll kind of take, because I think he's had a lot of issues.
They all got that
I see mouth. Like no resemblance, but he's had issues with like drugs and I think maybe money in the past. So I've heard he'll take like any role, any job. So I guess it kind of makes sense that he's on Dancing with the Stars, but I find it like kind of weird. I'm just like,
so I'm showing Molly a picture of Eric Roberts with Emma Roberts and Julia Roberts, and just look at that mouth. That's genes. That's genetics.
I seriously
Emma Roberts and Julia Roberts do look a lot alike, I think.
Kind of. I don't see it.
Look at that face. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen it. But anyway, so he is on Dancing with the Stars this season. I forgot who else. But anyway, the Anna Delvey thing was just wild to me. I couldn't get over it.
Yeah. That is crazy. It's just, are people still even watching it?
No, so I was going to say, I think there is still a fan base with it, but I think I haven't watched it since I was like 9 years old, seriously. Same with American Idol. With the fact that these shows are still on is so wild to me.
Nobody's watching cable TV.
No.
For that.
No.
At least not for that, you know?
I know.
But.
Okay, so I was just going to leave us with one thing, which was, you know, we talked about Francis Ford Coppola's new movie Megalopolis having wilder news every single day. So apparently Francis Ford Coppola asked Amazon to develop voice recognition software for his new movie Megalopolis, which we've talked about in past episodes.
Yeah.
His new movie that he fully funded. It, like we said, it's wilder news every single day about this movie.
It's giving J-Lo.
I will be seeing it. So this voice recognition software would have allowed moviegoers to ask Adam Driver's character a question during the film.
What?
And the theater's projector would screen the most relevant response. So we would have been sitting in the theater being like hoping that they ask him. That
sounds like the worst movie.
And he would have answered. I don't understand how he would have answered it though.
Okay.
It's not Disney World. Like, it's not like a person behind the what?
That's crazy that Adam Driver would be okay with that.
I don't know. And then Amazon laid off the team developing it in 2022 due to cost cutting.
Okay, I'm here to say,
this movie,
trying to,
I cannot wait to see this
creative
movie.
Ideas for, viewing things. It makes me think of Black Mirror
wish it
when they
worked.
did, it's a choose-your-own-adventure Black Mirror.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, this is crazy.
It took so long to get through that damn thing.
I'm here to tell you,
Matthew and I were, we wanted to,
There was no point,
No.
And also, I did it.
It took us, 4 hours to get through that thing.
Yes, I did every single ending that you could do. I did every single option. I did every single ending.
Really?
I don't do things with my life, so yeah. Yes.
You watched Bandersnatch?
All of it. All the possibilities. All the possibilities.
Wow.
And I'm like, why? It just pisses me off when shows are or anything is oh, this is an ending without an ending. And I'm like, I'm not watching it for that. Give me an ending. Okay, but also we don't need an AI Adam Driver.
I didn't say he was AI. I just said it was we as the audience would get
and it would just pop up in the middle of the film.
I don't know.
That's the stupidest idea.
I
think people are really holding on to AI. They're here's everything you could ever do with AI, and it's we just don't need that.
So I was curious actually because I did know that during the screening they would have a person come up on the stage and ask Adam Driver. So I was people were how are they going to show that in movie theaters? Well, I guess that was Francis Ford Coppola's idea. They were going to have us in the audience asking, but they can't do that now, so I wonder what they're going to do next.
That very much feels like the oldest person on earth hearing about AI and being I'm going to make my stuff relevant. Francis Ford Coppola, you don't need that.
Yeah.
I'm here to say you don't need it. We don't need AI in every single part of our lives. That's why Google sucks now, because it's all AI. I type in a question, I'm this response doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Exactly. Period. And I think that's all we have for you this week.
Yeah. That's all I have. I wanted to end on that note because it was so wild to me. I needed everyone to
martini
hear it.
is still coursing through my veins in case anyone's wondering.
I don't even think it's fully...
No, it won't leave me till tomorrow. But thank you guys for listening. Once again, please follow us on Instagram at Poppin In Podcast. Also, please rate and review this episode if you've made it to the end. Thank you. We appreciate it. We went on some really wild tangents here, and we would love to hear your thoughts, feedback, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.